Hello again, everybody, and welcome to 4-Star Chicago Sports. This is the Barely There podcast, and the Bears just went through their second wave of free agency. We're here to talk about it with you up next, and a couple other things we got to talk about. The winners, the losers, and what holes are left to fill, and what direction are we going in this draft? I think Poles answered some questions in free agency. Let's talk about it right after this.
Windy City banners rocking 4 stars aligned. Dynasty dreams rise, Bulls in their prime. Cubs curse shattered, the victory divine. Fields be running, clock ticking on my timeline. Shot-town heroes, legends never fade. Black Hawks flying, cutting ice with the blade. White Sox diamonds, the Southside parade. 4 stars shine bright, legacies they made. Mike with the crown, air rain, no dispute. Sweetness in the backfield, Walter in pursuit. Bear down Sunday's midfield, battles cute. Chicago.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome. It's not a beautiful day anymore. It's in shorts on Monday, and today I'm back in my parka. How about that? How we doing, boys?
It was snowing, dude. I was surprised to see it sticking too. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, and the temperature's gonna keep dropping, unfortunately. But
yeah, the next 2 weeks is gonna be brutal. I'm hoping that's the end of it, but we'll see. March in Chicago,
dude.
Doing good, man.
Living the
Ready to
proverbial
get this
dream.
thing started, brother.
Was that?
I guess somebody else's.
Somebody else's. That's for goddamn sure. So yeah, man, let's get into this, man. You know, the Bears still got a lot of work to do this offseason. But I like some of the early additions. We talked a little bit about it on Monday. Kobe Bryant, Devin Bush. Jay, we didn't get a chance to talk to you about those guys on Monday. So what are your thoughts there on the two big additions, Bryant and Bush, added to this defense? And really quick, before you say anything, looks like StreamYard has let us down again. As I got a warning side, we're not broadcasting on X. Thanks, StreamYard. You guys are so helpful. Jay, what are your thoughts on these guys?
You know, I think the contracts are good and fair. I like both of those guys. I think we're getting them right at the right time as well. Those are obviously and clearly, besides maybe the center pickup, the two biggest offseason moves that we've made so far this year. I think it's a big improvement. And I was actually looking on the defensive side of the ball, specifically pass defense, over the last since Poles took over. You know, we're hey, man, we like Brisker. We like Byard. We like Gordon. We like, Jalen Johnson. We like all these guys. But their passing yards per game has pretty much been awful the entire career of Poles here in Chicago. In 2022, they were ranked 17th overall. 23, the 25th worst. In 2024, they were the 16th best. And then in 2025, they had a 22nd overall rating in passing yards allowed. So they haven't even really cracked the halfway point, which is really kind of disconcerting. I don't know. Maybe it's time to just revamp that whole secondary, to be perfectly honest with you. I like Jalen Johnson. He's under contract, so you're really not going to get rid of him anyways. But, Brisker, there's been talks in some of our chat, our chat chains, text chains that, maybe we should bring Brisker back. I don't know that we should. There's just something about Brisker. I like him. He had a great playoff this year, but I think it is time to move on from all these guys. And honestly, they just re-signed Elijah Hicks. And I think he might, I'm hoping they draft somebody. Of course, we'll get into that in a little bit, but I think he's probably going to be your other safety there, your free safety. So I love Kobe Bryant, though. I think he's an up-and-comer. Another thing that I was looking at, too, we were talking about ages of these guys. I'm like, man, what are the drop-offs for all these? Because we always talk about once you're in your 30s, it's too late, right? Well, it's actually running backs. The drop-off is at 28. And most every other position, with the exception of quarterbacks actually, on average, sometimes actually get better after 30, and I think it's just experience. But most of the other players, you see a slow incline until they get to about year 26, 27 years old. That's when they really take off. They usually peak around 30 and then slowly drop off to around 33 is when you want to get rid of them, or at 32, because 28 to 32 is their peak time. So 30 isn't necessarily bad. It's you just don't want to be paying guys after 32 is really what it is. Now, I know they hired or just signed that, veteran center, but both Devin Bush and Kobe Bryant are right about to hit that that peak performance area. So I think they're brilliant signings, and I guarantee that's something that they considered. I know Kyle and you were talking about the age and us getting younger, so I'm sure you guys both liked it.
Mm-hmm. Thoughts, Kyle?
I mean, the overall assessment of free agency so far, I'd probably give the Bears like a B minus, somewhere in there. I mean,
Fair.
I like a lot of the moves they've made. I like this. Obviously, Kobe Bryant's a very good player. Devin Bush is a very good player. Like Jason said, they seem to both be on the upward trajectory. A lot of the other guys the Bears fans are complaining about, like Street and the tackle and everybody. These guys are just security blankets, backup guys. If you look at their special team number, they're all pretty. They all contribute on special teams. You have to consider special teams when you're building a roster. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, guys. The Bears weren't going to. Every single person they signed was not going to be an all-star. You don't have the money to make everybody on the team a Pro Bowler. But yeah, I mean, Sean, they're building up their depth. They've added some crucial pieces in on the defense, and then a guy like, I believe, Khalif Raymond is one of the most underrated wide receivers in the NFL, not just because of the fact that he can be pretty damn good number 3 wide receiver, especially in the slot, but he also is the number 1 punt return in the NFL in the last 5 years. I believe he has the most punt return yards of anybody in the NFL over the last 3 or 4 seasons. He was ranked number 2 or 3 last year, number 2 or 3 the year before that. I mean, a lot of these moves are going to be kind of under the radar moves, but what the Bears are doing is basically trying to fill in the holes where they can, and then trying to fill in the cracks where they can. And you're not going to be able to fill in the cracks with Pro Bowlers, man. You're going to have to. Some guys that you sign a free agency are not going to be. Basically, the Bears should be relying on some of these guys to play at all. They're more or less just special teams and security blankets.
Well, we have some bad news here because not only Twitter isn't working. I just got 2 texts from 2 of our community members who say they can't get on live on YouTube either. I don't know, guys, what is happening tonight with this. Mikey just sent me a picture of it, and there is no watch button that is popping up on YouTube right now. I don't know. I have no idea what's happening. I can't. It won't connect to X. We really got to talk to Streamwood here, folks, and figure out exactly what's happening, because now that we're having problems with our community being able to log on YouTube, now this is very disturbing. I'm kind of pissed off about it, actually. So we'll have to. We're going to continue to show as normal. See what happens, and hopefully you all could check it on the back end here. And I'll reach back out to we'll reach out to StreamYard. Dude, this absolutely sucks.
So I just it's working for me.
Yeah, Mikey just said the YouTube app, maybe it's just on my side. He can't open it live. No live chat options either.
Yeah, right now the chat is dead. So I just typed in there. If anybody has seen it, sorry guys. Obviously, we apologize, but we'll call StreamYard and Karen them until they fix it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do something here. This is ridiculous. Usually there'd be more chat members, so there'd be more people in here at this moment. So I'm wondering if there is a problem overall. But we'll go on, and hopefully they can. We can't really restart the show either, unfortunately.
No, but hey, maybe if we maybe they can rewatch it. You know what I mean? We'll not going to be a long one today, regardless. But
yeah, Kyle, I'm here. I can
watch
it. I can't comment.
Phil just texted me and said he can't comment either.
Let me see. I'll try on my phone too.
I can't. I'm trying to get on. And I can't even get onto the show. It says live, but I can't even get onto it. Oh, no, I'm on now. But yeah, there's no chat options.
Yeah, I'm on. Yeah, where are the chat options?
Yep, no chat options. Sorry, guys. I guess we're gonna talk amongst ourselves tonight, boys. Well, let's make the best of it. We've talked about this. We've talked about this a few times in the past. This upcoming draft, the Chicago Bears could very well be the most important part of Ryan Pohl's tenure, especially what he's done now, and talking about giving up some of this leadership when you lose guys like DJ Moore, Tremaine Edmonds, and Kevin Byard from your locker room, and you choose to go younger. You're hoping Caleb Williams could be that guy. Maybe Montez Sweat will be that guy. He's kind of a soft-spoken gentleman for a Giant. But one of the biggest problems that we've had is the ability to generate consistent pressure up front. And with what the Bears have done here in this free agency period, signing Gallimore and bringing in what's his name? This guy Willis Jr. to play left tackle, re-signing Braxton Jones, bringing in Gallimore as the other tackle. It kind of, to me, gives me the direction. You now have 4 tackles on the roster with Amagaji, Benedette, Willis, and Braxton Jones. So that kind of eliminates left tackle out of this draft for me. Maybe the Bears aren't thrilled with the left tackles in this draft, but when you have 4 on your roster, it doesn't seem like that's going to be your top priority at 25. You could still at 25 realistically be looking at a safety, and you could most likely, in my opinion, should be looking at that defensive tackle position, a Peter Woods, a Caden McDonald, someone who you can anchor this line around and build this line around for the next 10 years. I don't know if you guys see them going in a different direction, but so far in free agency, it's kind of what it's told me, the story that's been written. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but talk to me. Tell me what you guys feel based on what you've seen, some of these additions, getting Khalif Raymond, signing Cam Lewis here. They're starting to fill safeties. They're starting to fill the tackles. What do you guys feel the direction of this draft is moving forward now that you've seen the first and second waves of free agency for the Chicago Bears?
You know what, Sean? I don't know. I think they've signed some good people. We still need some depth pieces. I don't think we're fully answered at linebacker. We definitely need secondary, right? We definitely need help there. Look, I'm happy with them taking a tackle or an edge. If they like them at 25, that would be great. I think you're probably going to trade down. I just got another sneaking suspicion. I thought they were going to maybe take a linebacker there, but I think the really, really good linebackers are going to go, in the top 15. So I think you can get somebody similar in round 2 or 3 if you needed to for a linebacker. But if if Peter Woods is there, and I think in Daniel Jeremiah's latest mock draft, they got the Bears. He's got the Bears taking Peter Woods, which I would be very happy with. But like Rosen over in Philadelphia, arguably one of the best GMs, if not the best GM in the league. He is a notorious trading down type of guy, and Poles has been doing it a lot too. So maybe we drop down or trade down to the 28th pick or the 30th pick when we get a second or a third rounder again. Then we could pick another guy up. I'm happy with that as well. But I don't want to see us trade down just to get picks for the value of picks and miss out on one of those guys, the Peter Woods, McCade McDonald, a nice potent edge rusher, or even another linebacker or a cornerback or safety. If your guy is there at 25, please take him. Don't trade down just because you want the more picks.
Sorry, Sean, can you repeat the question, man? I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out this YouTube thing, man.
No, I was just saying the story that the Bears are writing right now in free agency, it seems like they're starting to fill these holes. They now have 4 left tackles on this roster. Looks like that could be your competition haul at that position. They signed 2 rotational depth pieces, I'd say, at DT. Obviously, Kobe Bryant is a premier safety. He's going to be your new premier safety in this offense or defense, excuse me. The story's kind of being written. What direction, based off the first and second waves, adding some depth, adding a couple starters in Devin Bush. What story has it been written for you in the direction you think the Bears are now going to shift towards in this draft?
Yeah, I think what you've seen so far in free agency is with the addition of Devin Bush and Kobe Bryant in particular, is these are probably guys that Dennis Allen requested from Ryan Poles, and the Bears probably plan on addressing the rest of the defense in the draft, man. We talked about this earlier today, Sean. I love Kevin Byard. I think you do too. I think most Bears fans do, especially what he's done here in the last 3 seasons. But at the end of the day, I think it's time for this team to start considering getting younger. At some point you have to inject youth into this roster. You can't have a bunch of 30, 35, 33, 34-year-olds on the roster when you're paying your quarterback $400, $500, $600 million. What the Bears, I believe what they're going to try to do at this point is try to get as much roster turnover in the next year and a half start to try to move on from guys like Grady Jarrett, Kevin Byard, the guys who are in their middle to late 30s, and try to start replacing some of those guys with young draft picks, man. Because by the time you pay your quarterback, and you're probably gonna have to pay Loveland soon after that. You're gonna have to pay Luther Burden soon after that. By the time you start signing those contracts, you want most of this roster to be on rookie contracts, man. And I think the Bears are doing it the right way. I understand that people are upset they didn't go make some splash move like Max Crosby or Jalen Carter or try to trade for Myles Garrett or something like that. But I think the Bears at this point going into the future are concerned with keeping as much draft capital as they possibly can, because at some point, man, you have to start you can't have everybody on max contracts. You're going to have to start finding ways to get talent on this team on rookie deals so that you can pay your quarterback $500 million. And I believe that's exactly what Ryan Poles is doing right now.
Yeah, you hope he's thinking about that. I think he's smart enough to do that. I mean, they went through that in Kansas City, right? So you should be well aware of how that works.
Yeah, because
look at the Eagles. The Eagles have not signed a single free agent yet. Because they have 9 draft picks. They 100% plan on replacing every single player off their team this offseason in the draft. That's why the Eagles continue to be good. That's why they're a sustained, successful playoff team, because they continue to build their team through the draft. Look at the Eagles roster, guys. Look at the roster. Almost all of their talent has been acquired through the draft. Sure, you can find guys here and there, and you're going to find on the Bears too, especially with Kobe Bryant, with Devin Bush. You're going to find guys here and there that they acquired in free agency or via trade. But for the most part, the bulk of your team, the foundation, the core should be built through the draft. You want to have these guys here as long as you possibly can. And if you do good at drafting, if you do well, you should be signing your studs in the draft to second contracts.
Yeah, and what you're hearing out of Eagles camp right now is they just signed Jordan Davis for, I think it was $89 million, and they're working on an extension for Jalen Carter. You're going to be wrapping up, 180 to 200 million in between two players in the defensive line. They need those draft picks. They need those draft picks to hit, because that's going to be their roster. When you think about a cap that's at 300 million, and you're going to pay 2 guys on your defensive line 180 million, you're eating up all your cap in 2 players. Howard Roseman's always been a genius. I don't think that's a genius move at all. I think it's a very idiotic move. You have these 2 guys. You made your choice. Your choice obviously was Jordan Davis first, and you're not going to be signing. I mean, and maybe I could be wrong here, but if Jalen Carter is this dominator, multiplier, best defensive tackle in the NFL that everyone claims it to be, he ain't signing for 50, 60 million when the guy next to him doesn't do half of what he does and just signed for 90 million. So I don't know how that's going to play out, Kyle and Jay, but these guys are going to need those picks, because if you're going to wrap up all that money into 2 players, you're still paying Barkley, you're still paying Jalen Hurts. Man, you got all your money wrapped up in 4 players. The Eagles dynasty is going to be done.
They lost some key players so far too on the defensive side of the ball. So, and they're probably going to lose AJ Brown. Yeesh.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Sean, realistically, what you should have is a couple guys in their defense and a couple guys in your offense who are under contract, so like the core, like Chris. Like you look at the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, Chris Jones. Those are the guys. Those are the guys that team considers the 2 most important players on that team. And those guys are going to be there for as long as they want to be, or until they retire. And they're going to be there together. It's because they think that those 2 guys are the 2 guys who give them the best chance to win a championship. If you watch the Chiefs over the last few years, man, everybody else is kind of a rotating chess piece, right? Like there's never, outside of those 2 guys, it's not like the Chiefs have gone out of the way to keep anybody else there. They traded Tyreek Hill, who at the time was considered to be one of the best receivers in the NFL and had some damn good chemistry with Patrick Mahomes. But at the end of the day, you keep 3, 4, or 5 guys you think are the most important to your sustained success, and everybody else should be almost like a rotating door of young talent. And you have to be good in the draft and able to do that. And if you are, you can build a dynasty. It's time for Ryan Poles to start correcting his mistakes.
Yeah, and I think for me, where he is, many of these offseason additions, with the exception of Bush and Bryant, have been, to provide depth, versatility, and flexibility across the roster, but obviously don't solve our biggest issue, which was pass rush and penetrating up the middle. So the lack of disruption from the line of scrimmage is going to have to come to this draft. And, this is going to be a critical stage for Ryan Poles. And that's kind of why I've been stressing this. And I know we've talked about this many times, if they can add these high impact players along this defensive line in this draft by getting a Dominic Orange, maybe getting a Peter Woods, one of these guys in this offensive line that they patched together with the patchwork on the left tackle, and Bradbury, who looks like he's going to be a serviceable center for the Chicago Bears. Poles then looks like he could have had he well constructed somewhat of a foundation with depth, and then adding these stars into the draft at 25, 57, and 60, and maybe even 89 if we could be blessed to have 4 hits in this draft in the top 90 picks. But
it's doable, right? We kind of did it last year, so we just got to hope that it happens again, which is scary.
Yeah, and again, just to put a button on this, man, how Poles navigates this draft this year with these holes that are going to be left because of the cap situation that we had is truly going to be the next phase of our franchise trajectory, in my opinion only. But he has to hit and he has to make this right. And this is kind of why I'm thinking it's going to have to be defensive tackle, because if you don't get that 3 technique, or you don't get that dominant nose tackle that can eat up some space, free up Javon Dexter or maybe Gallimore and Jarrett and these guys rotate, and you have Peter Woods at your 3 tech dominating on that side. I just think, I don't know that there's any other direction, in my personal opinion, that the Bears can go. And I don't know at this point. I would be disappointed if they went in a different direction. Do you guys agree with that? Disagree with that? What are your thoughts?
No, the hope is that you get the defensive tackle, right? But again, if you get a stud safety or another stud cornerback, I guess I'm okay with that too. I just, like I said, I'm worried that he's going to trade down just for the sake of trading down to get those extra picks, and we're going to miss out on a guy that we really kind of need. But again, if McDonald is gone and Peter Woods is gone, all the guys that you want are gone at 25, and you feel like you have similar value, then yeah, trade down. We're
Kyle's
probably never going to
Cassius Howell then.
yeah. We're probably never. I love Cassius Howell.
So do I.
Never going to get the real answers out of Poles for that, but look, he's got to hit. I mean, for me, the greatest thing about the free agency so far is that the rest of the NFC North hasn't done shit.
Yeah.
Kyle and I were talking about that last night. Kyle, you had mentioned and I didn't even think about it until I started looking this morning after you told me. I'm like, yeah, dude, they haven't. I mean, I don't know what you think about the rest of the NFC North, Kyle, but man.
Yeah, I mean, their additions certainly have not outweighed their departures. I mean, the Green Bay lost to almost 25% of the roster, and I think they've signed 3 guys in free agency so far. To be honest with you, all 3 of the guys they've signed are kind of middle of the road type guys. Green Bay's always been used to building through the draft, and they've been a very successful organization because I think they do it the right way by building through the draft. But losing Ted Thompson was much bigger than people think. I mean, they're just not drafting as well as they were. I mean, they drafted Matthew Golden in the first round. The Bears drafted Luther Burden in the second. It seems by all accounts that Luther Burden is going to be the better player. You're talking about the Packers 20 years ago. They don't make those mistakes, man. They just don't. They were a much better organization with Ted Thompson. I didn't realize how much the loss of Ted Thompson hurt them, and I don't think Packers fans did either. And when you talk about Minnesota Vikings, I understand what the Minnesota Vikings were trying to do last year when they were adding basically every stud free agent they possibly could. They went and got Jonathan Allen. They went and got the 2 offensive linemen. They went and got they spent a ton of money in free agency. Now, unfortunately for them, they're almost $30 million over the cap before all the restructures, and they don't really have a quarterback. I mean, here they are searching for a quarterback. It sounds like Kyler Murray's probably going to be their guy, but that's a big problem to have. And then when you get to Detroit, man, Detroit just ran out of money, guys. I mean, they had one of the best offensive lines in football. Their center retired. Now they just had to cut their part ways with their left tackle because they couldn't afford to extend multi-year extension. They had to part ways with Dave Montgomery. He wasn't happy there. I mean, actually, guys, if you think about it, the last 3 Lions players to leave the team, they asked to leave or left on their own account. It's not like the Lions didn't want them anymore. I mean, there's something going on there in Detroit that everybody all of a sudden doesn't want to play there anymore. I don't know what's going on there.
Isn't that kind of the history of the Lions, though?
Yeah, I mean, Dave Montgomery's like, hey, get me out of here. Get me out of here. Then Dave Montgomery screaming, get me out of here. Then you have Taylor Decker, who asked for his release. I mean, Ragnow retired what most people consider a little bit early. I think it was 29. He probably could have played till 31. It's strange to me that a team that was in the NFC Championship 3 years ago, all of a sudden everybody wants out of there. There's definitely something going on there, and it might have been the loss of their two coordinators, and Ben Johnson and what's his name on the Jets now. But yeah, I mean, at 25 guys, I'm not necessarily like, oh, we have to fill this hole. So if it's the 8th best defensive tackle available at 25, and the single safety hasn't been drafted yet, like say Caleb Downs is there or something like that, you're taking the safety. I mean, you're taking the best available player. The Bears at some point need to start adding star power to this defense, and I promise. Even if it's the position you don't think you feel you need the most, if you start adding star power, the defense will start to get better. You'll start to see subtle improvements. Now, obviously, it would suck to not address the defensive tackle situation because you never really thought that was the best available player to you. But once you get into those middle rounds where you're just kind of like a crapshoot and you don't know, it's basically you pick who you think's going to be the best and you never know what's going to happen. Like, I mean, you guys, Cooper Kupp got drafted in the 3rd round. He should have been drafted in the 1st, right? those guys are going to be there, right? Tyreek Hill is a 5th round pick. Those guys are going to be there in the 3rd round. You just have to be a damn good
Earl
GM
Davis,
and have to
Austin
be damn
Eckler.
good at drafting. Yeah, you just got to be good at drafting. If the Bears can pull moves like that, which Jason said earlier, to his point, it seems like they did it last year because Shamar Turner looked damn good. Ozzie Trapillo looked damn good. Kyle Mann, guy's a 7th round pick. The guy has 800 yards rushing and a handful of touchdowns. If they can continue to do that,
there's only one bad pick in that draft, and we all know who it is.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't think that the story's written on Ruben Hippolyte. I don't know if he's ever going to be like a dominant linebacker in the NFL. I do think he is going to be a good special teamer though at some point, just solely based off of speed. And remember, guys, before he started getting healthy scratches last year because they needed the linebacker depth because all the injuries, he was playing really well on special teams. I think he had three tackles in a row at one point, and then that next game when they ended up benching him. But if the Bears could continue to draft the way they're drafting, you don't need to go in free agency and spend a ton of money. You don't have to do that. I mean, the whole world gave them grief when they drafted the Colson Loveland at number 10. It looks like he's going to be the best tight end in the NFL, or at least up there, top 3. The whole world gave him grief for drafting another receiver. Like, oh, we already have DJ and Rome. We don't need Luther. Looks like Luther's going to end up being the Bears' number 1 receiver after you ship DJ Moore out of here, and Rome Dunze's had problems dropping the ball. I mean, so far, we talked about this on the phone today. Jason, correct me if you think I'm wrong, but even if they draft something that I'm like, well, that's kind of strange. Like your corner is probably your strongest room, and you go and get 25, you go draft a corner. Until it doesn't work, guys, I trust this coaching staff. I just do. I can't believe I'm saying that because as a Bears fan, I don't think I've ever been able to say that. I am always very critical of their drafts, but I was last year, and it bit me in the ass. So until I see something go wrong, until I see them do something where I don't agree with and it ends up not working out for them, I'm going to continue to trust them, man. If Dennis Allen goes to 25, he goes to Ryan Poles and says, hey, Ryan, I know we need a defensive tackle. I know we need a safety, but that corner right there is the best corner in the draft, and he was just left for us at 25. Then take him.
Yeah, you know what? I also wonder how much of the success of these draft picks is due to the coaching staff. You know, the past coaching staff, I don't think was really developing anybody. We've talked about this ad nauseum. So I just wonder if, hey, you know, first of all, Ben Johnson setting the tone. Nope, redo it, reset, redo. We're not even passing the ball until we can get it to the line correctly. You know, those types of things. Eric Bieniemy coming in and just really beating up these running backs. I mean, brutal. We all loved watching the Eric Bieniemy clips of the preseason. But look what he did with the running back room. It was amazing. So, you know, I think really a lot of the credit should probably go maybe let's say 50-50. You know, obviously Poles had to make the draft, right? He had to pull the trigger, but it's definitely the coaching staff that I think that made these players shine. And I'm hoping he can keep doing it, and I'm hoping he can do it with some of the existing players on this roster. I mean, how nice would it be? I mean, Elijah Hicks has got a lot of starts, but how nice would it be if he actually turns out to be a decent safety? I mean, now you're developing people that are already on your roster, that those 5th round, 6th round, 7th round guys that you're picking up that are sitting in you know, whatever, relegated to the bench for the first couple of years of their career. Maybe they're going to get developed in the point where they are viable players. And all that says to me really is you're now developing commodities. You're developing people that you can move and trade for more draft picks, and in the future it's great. And by the way, it's great depth, right? We did see quite a bit of people on the defensive side of the ball come in and really not see a drop off, and in some cases maybe a little bit of an uptick. So I kudos to the coaching staff, but I think we need both. We need to hit those picks. We need to train those guys up as much as possible.
I just want to send a quick shout out. I see a bunch of people here on the YouTube, on our YouTube channel. Really appreciate y'all sticking around with us.
Yes, thank you.
Comment tonight. We don't know what's going on. Dustin's in there trying to figure it out.
Sean, it says the most common reason that you cannot comment on a live stream on StreamYard is because somehow the Facebook group that the stream is attached to somehow got switched to private instead of public.
Nothing's on private.
Yeah, I mean, unless somebody accidentally switched the 4-Star Chicago Sports Facebook page to private instead of public. It says the most common reason, but this could very well just be a glitch on the StreamYard side. We've had problems with them here in the recent months. I wouldn't be surprised at all if there's something else going on. We're gonna have to contact them tonight at some point and figure out what's going on.
I'm gonna go into our show right now. Let me try and change a setting and see if we can fire up these comments. Hold on, boys and girls.
Yeah, first and foremost, guys, I'd like to apologize to all you guys because this the main reason we do this is kind of get your guys' opinions of everything, sit here and chit chat with you guys, man. The chat is the most important thing of this entire show. This kind of sucks sitting here talking amongst ourselves. We do this every day at the bar. We don't need to do this on StreamYard. We love you guys. We appreciate you being here, man. I swear, Sean and Dustin are both working hard to try to figure out what the hell is going on with StreamYard. Sean, do you want to break down or at least try to give the viewers an overview on some of these guys that we've signed in free agency?
Yeah, kind of give them
an idea.
1 second.
Yeah, take your time, man. But I mean, you know, Jason, we talked about this on Monday. I don't know if you had a chance to watch the show, but you know, one thing I will say about Ryan Poles is he never really lies to the fan base. You know, he came out in his presser at the end of the season and said, "Hey, listen, we're not going to spend a ton of money on this defensive line free agency. It's not going to happen. We plan on building this thing through the draft." He didn't know who was going to be here at safety. He said that. I don't know if we're Sean. It worked. Whatever you did just worked. But
it did.
Yeah, but you got Steve. Just said, there it is. What's up, Steve?
Hell
How you doing,
yeah.
brother? Thanks for joining, man.
I went into the studio. I got it to work.
Yeah,
Hell yeah. Boys and girls, chat away with us. Bring it. Let's go.
Yeah, but I mean, the Bears are doing exactly what Ryan Poles said they were going to do, exactly what I expected them to do. They weren't going to go sign the Lindenbaums. That wasn't going to happen. I think we all knew that. That was never going to be an option for the Bears. We knew they were going to go into free agency, sign a couple guys, maybe guys who either in the middle of the road guys or guys who were on the upward trajectory, like Jason said, when you're talking about guys like Devin Bush and Kobe Bryant, and the rest of them were basically going to be space fillers, right? Guys who are in case of emergency linebackers, or in case of emergency offensive linemen, or in case of emergency wide receivers, but they're also could contribute on special teams. You can't spend $1 billion on every single player you sign. There's 53 men on the roster. You expect 22 to start. Some of those guys at the low end of the roster, 51, 52, 53, are not going to be great players in the NFL, guys. That's just how that's how the salary cap works. That's how the sport works. I'm happy with what they've done so far. I couldn't be happier, man. I love Kobe Bryant. I watched 4 hours of his tape yesterday, man. I think this kid is absolutely going to be special. I think he's only getting better every single year.
Just think, he's got Al Harris to work with now.
Yeah. And Dennis Allen. And if you talk about Devin Bush, is the guy who I think it took him a little bit longer than most people wanted for him to figure out the NFL. But the last 2 seasons, he has been an absolute monster. Last year, his numbers last year, guys, and I'm going to dig into him real quick because I love
He's the 4th best ranked linebacker.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually, I think Bears fans are actually kind of, they're not.
I'm shocked we got him.
They're not excited enough, man. I mean, this guy is absolutely a freak of nature, man. If you dig into so last year's statistics, he played 70 games, 123 tackles, 61 solo, 62 assisted, 2 sacks, 3 interceptions, 164 reception yards, and both picks were pick sixes. Pass deflections, he had 8, great in coverage, absolutely amazing coverage. Forced fumbles too, and he recovered one of those fumbles himself. His PFF grades, his overall grade is 87.6. That ranks 4th out of 88. Run defense, 8th out of 88. Coverage grade, 80.4, 4th out of 88. Pass rush, whereas it's probably his weakest link, but I don't think the Bears are going to be asking him to do much pass rush. He's 30th out of 88, and it's not like he was the worst in the world. He still, I think, he still gets pressures every now and then if they're schemed up for him. And total plays, he was 35th. I mean, this guy was on the field constantly. He was just an absolute freak of nature, man. An absolute freak of nature. And Bears fans are talking. You see Bears fans on Twitter and social media, Instagram, they're like, man, just another disappointing offseason for the Bears. I disagree. What about that is disappointing? And listen, I know if you go look at the PFF numbers, guys, for Kobe Bryant, it's not like the best numbers in the world. But I don't think they're doing him any justice. Not to mention, guys, remember, Kobe Bryant was drafted as a cornerback in the 2022 draft. Mm-hmm. He then played free safety, and then last year he played strong safety. Like, this guy's never even had a consistent position in the NFL. And all 3 positions he's played pretty damn well. And if you talk about his strongest suits, his tackling, his instincts in zone coverage, his versatility in the secondary, I think there's a very good chance that the Bears just take the best available safety in the draft, and they're like, hey, we can do whatever we want because then we can just move Kobe Bryant to the other position because he can basically do anything. I mean, I think the versatility is his strongest asset, and I think Dennis Allen couldn't be happier about it. How many times we talk about how much Dennis Allen talks about versatility. I want to move guys interior defensive linemen to the outside. I want to move defensive ends to the inside. I want to move strong safety to I want my nickel to be able to play outside linebacker, nickel, safety, core. I mean, what you're seeing in the last couple of days here in Chicago is you're seeing Ben Johnson went and got the guys he needed to run his offense last year. What you're seeing now is Dennis Allen going to start to build his rosters to run the scheme he needs, man. Remember, when Dennis Allen got to New Orleans, they were the 31st ranked overall ranked defense in the NFL. In year 3 of Dennis Allen, they were the 5th ranked defense in the NFL. And he's just doing the same thing he's always done. He's just doing it in Chicago.
Yeah, you know what? I think Kobe Bryant's going to be good. We just got to keep him away from helicopters. We'll be all right.
Oh my God!
Too soon?
Oh,
Jesus!
All right,
oh
moving on.
God.
Is that too soon, guys? I don't know.
Oh boy. Well, moving on. The Chicago Bears in their second wave of free agent acquisitions. Here, I'm just going to start with my personal favorite. I know this guy's maybe an all-pro on special teams, but I think he's going to be an all-around gadget guy. Pretty good contract here. They brought over Khalif Raymond from our rivals, the Detroit Lions, signed that 1 year, $3.5 million contract, $3 million guaranteed, $1.6 million in incentives. A rather friendly contract for a guy who led the NFL in punt return yards in 2024, been in the top 5 of the last 3 years. 5'8", 180 pounds. He's had 3 punt return touchdowns over the past 4 years, 215 plus receiving yards over the past 5 years. I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but he does bring some stuff to the Chicago Bears team. A lot of familiarity with the offense that Ben Johnson runs out there. He understands the concepts. It's an easy transition for him. This is a guy that you can use on deep routes, jet sweeps, screens, motions, and creative offensive packages that Ben wants to set up. This guy's a 4'4", 40 guy, so he brings a ton of speed. You know, he's a threat when he touches the ball to go to the house. And I think his production may go up here in Chicago just a little bit, or maybe just stay right in that zone because he's been a 200 to 400 yard receiving guy in Detroit. I think if he contributes that to Chicago,
Sean, remember
creative ways.
Well, Sean, from 2021 to 2023, which was his best years as a professional, in which he was more involved in the offense. Obviously, this is before the Tim Patricks and the Teslas and those guys. He had over 35 reception, over 400 yards all 3 years. One of the years he had almost 700 yards, and he had, I think it was like 65 receptions. I mean, this is a guy who can contribute on offense as well. Not to mention, guys, he was also used in Ben Johnson's offense as like an end-around type guy, kind of a scat back.
That's kind of what I was saying.
Yeah. And Raymond currently right now among active players ranks number 1 in the NFL of punt return yards with 1,948. And he's 3rd in the NFL right now of active players with punt return average per return, which is 13.8. I mean, listen, if you're going to go get a guy, if you got to add a receiver to this team, which you have to, because you just dumped DJ Moore's contract. If you got to add a receiver to this team, why not a guy who's also a special teams savant, right? I mean, he's an absolute, he's going to contribute to this team in so many ways. And on top of it, guys, he's used to Ben Johnson's offense. It's not like there's going to be some 2-year adjustment period for Khalif Raymond to come play in the Chicago Bears. He's going to fit right in. It's not going to take any time at all for him to fit right into this offense, right into the special teams unit. Won't take any time at all.
And we were talking about it. I don't know if we mentioned it at the top of the show or in the green room there, but man, I mean, what a versatile little player for $3 million a year. I mean, great, awesome. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you don't really lose much. So if he doesn't pan out 1 year, you didn't really lose anything. You know, he's definitely serviceable. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets another contract with the Bears too after this, but you know, we'll see.
Yeah, I think the Bears later in the draft, which they don't have a lot of late capital. I think it goes from 129 to 231. So maybe at 129, you draft a wide receiver. I personally don't see a wide receiver. I see another veteran signing, maybe a Tim Patrick type, somebody who's familiar with the offense. I don't know if he's under contract. I just threw his name out there. But I just see someone like a veteran coming into this team.
I remember Jade Walker was an undrafted free agent.
And that could happen too. That could happen too. I mean, going into training camp, you're gonna see 8 to 10 wide receivers on this roster. And hopefully some of them pan out, or one of them pans out. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Ted Hurst. As a later guy, and Jeff Caldwell, Cincinnati. I don't know if those guys will be around, if they're an option at 129 or not, but I'm a fan of those guys. So we'll see. I don't personally don't expect the wide receiver being drafted. I don't know if you guys do.
Well, since we get a chance to address the chat for the first 20 minutes of the show, guys, here, let's start. Drizzle Joe says, Does the panel believe the Bears roster will be better or worse on week 1 of the regular season? I'm assuming you mean better than last year and not better than it is today. But I mean, for me personally, if you're talking about in comparison to last year, I think this team will, I don't know if I necessarily say the roster will be better, Joe, but I do believe that the team will be better because they're going to have a lot more chemistry. I mean, remember, Ben Johnson's the first year last year here, Dennis Allen's first year last year here. I think that Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson marriage is only going to grow stronger. And I think the more that these guys start to trust each other, the better this team's going to be. And you know what? Once you feel like Ben or Caleb Williams has arrived, which is what the Bears are trying to do, trying to groom him into that franchise quarterback. Once you feel like he has arrived, he should make everybody around him better. So you shouldn't have to sign studs all the time. Remember, guys, it took the Chiefs, 2-3 years to decide to move on from Tyreek Hill. And basically what I think they were doing is they were trying to wait until Patrick Mahomes basically became the tide that lifts all boats, right? The guy who makes everybody around him better. I think the first couple of years in the NFL, trying to learn a new offense, they were like, when he needs a stud receiver like Tyreek Hill to help him out. After they felt like he arrived and he was the guy he was going to be, and the NFL slowed down for him, and he knew every defense, he knew how to run the offense at the line of scrimmage. That's when they let Tyreek Hill go, and they got a bunch of. I mean, guys, who did they win that Super Bowl with after they traded Tyreek Hill? I mean, who were the receivers?
I'll say this.
Sky Moore.
I'll say this. When it comes to Tyreek Hill, and you know the history of the Chicago Bears and George McCaskey, this guy's a woman beater, child abuser. I don't care.
I've not heard anything about Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill coming to Chicago does not seem like a character guy for this organization, a character guy that George McCaskey would sign off on, number one. He doesn't sign, for all intents and purposes, pieces of shit. And maybe they are all pieces of shit. He's a publicly known piece of shit.
Well, maybe he's talking about Taysom Hill.
maybe I would take Taysom Hill. I like Taysom Hill.
I was thinking, guys, my biggest worry, the first, let's say, half of the season is really going to be the chemistry between Bradbury and Caleb Williams. I hope that the protection calling is better. I'm hoping that maybe Caleb is progressing a little bit more and is able to help out with those protection calls. And I hope the snaps are going to be good. I mean, with the way that Ben Johnson runs his camp, I think a lot of those little mistakes are going to be gone. Thankfully, the rest of the line is going to be, fine. I believe they've worked with each other. It's really that center quarterback exchange that worries me because, again, Bears are running a lot of under center, and that's when usually you're going to get, screw ups. But we'll see. Yeah. I mean, he's a veteran. They're both veterans now. So,
to back that up, Jay, we remember the early struggles at the beginning of the year between Dalton and Caleb. It didn't get worked out till midway through the season when we were like, oh my God, this dude's a stud now, and it started to take off. So,
and I agree with
you, some growing pains.
To that point, I agree with you 100%. But to that point, remember the Bears had 4 out of 5 of the offensive linemen were newcomers to this team. It was Theo Bennett's first time starting. It was Joe Thuney first time as a Bear. It was Drew Dahlman's first time as a Bear. It was Jonah Jackson's first time as a Bear. Now you're getting 3 of the 5 anchors back. So you got Joe Thuney, you got Jonah Jackson, you got Darnell Wright. I think it'll be a smoother transition this time around. And I
technically 4, right? Because Braxton
Jones and Theo Bennett will be your left tackle. Yeah. So basically, the only new piece on the offensive line to start the season will be center. So I think the transition will be a little bit faster this year. Not to mention, man, I think Dan Rocher is one of the best offensive line coaches in the NFL, if not probably not the best. And if anybody could kind of speed up the process a little bit, it's that guy, man. And it does suck. I mean, you guys, I don't think the Bears had it in their plans in any way, shape, or form for their center, their Pro Bowl center to retire at the age of 27. It's just unfortunate. It's nobody's fault, but yeah, it's definitely a setback for sure.
And you mentioned it too, Kyle. He was not somebody that was a Bradbury. He was not somebody that was like available and out on the market. The Bears called them and asked them. They weren't shopping him. So kudos to Poles for that.
Yeah,
because that means that means the staff identified him as a player that they want.
Guys, this is now 3 offensive linemen on the Bears starting 5 who, by all accounts, were not available via trade. And Ryan Poles went out, picked up the phone, and started hunting. Hunting to see who he could find. And again, he does it again, back-to-back years. He goes and finds guys who. I mean, did you guys hear anything about Joe Thuney, Jonah Jackson, or Bradbury being available before the Bears traded for them? Did you hear anything about that at all? Like Patriots trying to dump Bradbury to put him on the trade block. He's available. I didn't see any of that stuff. None of it.
No, Jonah Jackson, we were all like, oh, this guy's terrible. It turns out to be a stud. It was right. I mean, listen, there's little signs like that throughout last season of players that we had questions about that the staff either coached up or maybe they just knew, yeah, this guy's not a good fit there, but he's going to be a good fit here. He's got what I need, and I'll coach him into what I want him to be. And there's plenty of those signs all over the place at the Bears, and that makes me a little bit more comfortable. And I think that's what really people are trying to say when they say that, trust in Poles or trust in Ben Johnson or whatever. I think that's what they're getting at. The coaching staff is great, and it's going to suck when we start losing some of these guys next year because we probably will.
And it's high IQ football. And
Yeah.
one thing we've learned is we got a bunch of high IQ coaches in this building right now, and they're getting players that whether maybe we don't like, but they do because they fit the scheme and the things that they want to do. And I'll tell you, the guy Bradbury, I wasn't too thrilled when we signed him, but he's strong at the zone running scheme, and that's exactly why he's here. Because exactly what the Bears are going to run is exactly
0 sacks, 0 penalties. I mean, The guy can't suck. That's a really hard thing to do. The whole season, not one penalty, not one sack. The only other guy I know that does that is Joe Tooney.
Well, I'll say this: the sack thing for centers is a miscued stat.
Right,
penalties is nice, but the penalties are nice. But I'm not going to draw too much into the sack thing because 23. I think it was 23 centers had 1 or 0 sacks allowed last year, so that puts them in a plane with 3/4 of the league. But the penalties are very, very nice to know that he's a well-disciplined player.
Well,
that isn't going to hurt you.
Well, even if he's above average, say he's above average, say he's not a top 5 center like Dahlman was, but he is above average and he has is one of his best seasons as a pro. The trade will look even better, guys, because they traded a 7th round pick for him, which the Bears had 3. I mean, what are you going to do if he ends up being a good starting center in the NFL for the Bears? Were you going to get that in the 7th round? The starting center, right off the bat? Probably not. Not a day one ready center. So, and you just dumped a 7th round pick for him. That makes this trade even better. Like you weren't going to go in the 7th round, draft a center, and he was going to start day one. That was not going to happen. The Bears knew that they had to get a veteran center who can identify defenses, knows all the terminology at the line of scrimmage. They knew that they couldn't rely on somebody in the draft to do that, and they wouldn't got the guy the guy they thought was the best available. They knew they couldn't afford Linderbaum. Biotish never left LA. He signed there when he went to go work out for them. And the guy, Sean, you like the most, Connor McGovern, re-signed with the Bills. There's nothing you could do about that. There's absolutely nothing you could do about that.
And we kind of talked about that on Monday. I think Poles was in on a lot of this stuff, especially like I think your brother said on Monday, when they traded DJ Moore, they probably asked about McGovern, but like, oh yeah, he's going to be under contract here in a day, So they eliminated him. And, and we talked about Biotish. For me, obviously centers with Lindenbaum's contract getting paid very well. I think it was an overpay. I think Biotish is a very good quarterback or center that was worth $6 to $8 million. He got overpaid. He took it. Good for him. Yeah, I would too. Someone wants to pay me more than what I'm worth. I'm all for it. So good for him, And again, at first I didn't like Bradbury, but then when I looked at his tape and to Jay's point, the penalties, and like, okay, man, this guy's disciplined. He might not be Linderbaum, but he's a well-polished veteran that was teammates and roadies with Joe Tooney in college. And, you got to have limited communication during the offseason, but Joe Tooney doesn't have to have limited communication with Bradbury. So they could be spending time with each other, and he could be teaching them up on the offense as we speak. And they could be learning things and going through things. The Bears can't necessarily do it again, but
remember, guys,
Joe Tooney doing it.
Sean, you mentioned the high football IQ. If you go look at the tape, Bradbury's best tape is from when he was running an outside run zone scheme.
Yeah.
That's what the Bears are going to run. I mean, that's exactly what the Bears are going to run. Basically, the Bears were like, hey, this guy may not be the best center in the football, but he definitely plays his best in this scheme, and that's the scheme we run. So he probably would be a pretty good fit here, even if he's not Drew Dahlman. And like I said, a lot of Bears fans are coming out and basically just destroying the Bears for the trade, because if they look at Bradbury's BFF numbers or if they watch the tape, they're like, this guy's nowhere near as good as Drew Dahlman. Nobody's saying he is, but what were your options? What were you guys? Give me another option.
By the way. It was the 5th round pick next year. It's not even this year. It's actually a really good trade. Or 7th, whatever it is. But
yeah, I think it's the 7th.
I don't remember, actually. I know it was a pick I didn't really care about, so I didn't really pay attention to it.
Hey, look, I know there was 2 centers that played in the Super Bowl this year, and he's one of them. So
it might have been Jason, you might be right. It might have been a 5th. I don't know.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I know they traded a 7th and got a 5th or they traded a fifth. They got a second back for DJ. I know that. No,
Yeah.
Dustin just said it's a fifth next year, guys. It's a fifth round pick next year. Yeah,
Didn't even give up draft capital this year.
yeah, even better. He pushed it off to Ryan Poles picked it, pushed it off till next year. And you weren't going to get a starting center in the fifth round this year. That's not going to happen. You may get a starting center. You may get a center in the fifth round this year that starts at some point, but he's not going to start.
But he's not going to start next year.
Here, I'll be honest with you. $4 million. If you could get 17 games out of this guy, or even 15 quality games out of this guy. And you're right. One of you guys just said it. There's two centers that started in the Super Bowl, and he was one of them. So, and that's another thing. When you think about it, Seattle played New England in the Super Bowl. We grabbed two Super Bowl champions and brought them to this roster. Or not champions, but two Super Bowl competitors. One a champion and one a loser, but still. Doesn't matter. We're going to
Can we also talk about Poles? When he trades away players, he is moving these guys into other good teams.
Winning situations.
And I'm sure it's partly because, hey, look, this winning team has really good players, and I'm looking at some of those players, so that's why I'm trading you. But he's not dumping them off to Arizona or Carolina or Tennessee. He's dumping them off into good situations. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to be aiming for DJ Moore in fantasy football this year. I don't care what anybody says.
It's going to be a rat race for DJ.
Oh, you guys.
We're gonna get to Jedrick Willis here in just 1 second.
Yeah.
Let me hit up this other signing really quick, and we'll bust over to this offensive line. I don't know if I agree with you, but Cam Lewis is coming here. Salary cap hit, charge $2.2 million. It's actually a 2-year contract. Total value is $6 million. For the Bears, fully guaranteed money is only 2.7. Contract ranking is 73 out of 294. At the cornerback, this is per cap over the cap. And what does this guy bring? 76 games, and he started 14 in the last 2 seasons. Graded 76 out of 98 safeties. I know not the best, but again, a versatile chip. 24 snaps at the line of scrimmage, 170 in the box, 145 in the slot, 99 at free safety. Special team snaps, 85 on kickoff, 53 on kick return, 51 on punt return, and 51 on punts. So this guy, a versatile piece that you can move all over the place. A guy who has 14 starts, as I just stated, under his belt. He played 50%. He was a team captain for the Bills on special teams. So you add him to Khalif Raymond. You just took your special teams up another notch. He brings, again, experience, special teams value. If someone gets injured, he's a plug and play. He can step in without the defense falling too far off. Quality signing, 2 years. Out of Buffalo. What are you guys' thoughts on Mr. Cam Lewis?
Yeah, just another good depth piece, a solid pick that we need. Again, we talked about it earlier. Injuries really kind of hurt this defense. I don't know how good they would have been without the injuries, but it did have a very serious impact. So getting these quality depth guys that are versatile, it's just going to help us, because now a guy, even if he doesn't start, he can fill in at any one of those positions at any time when somebody goes out, and somebody will go out. So I'm fine with it. We're not going to win the Super Bowl because of him, but hey, you know what? He just might be an aid to help us down the road.
Yeah, and if the Bears kept 5 safeties next year, and you went on Bears.com, looked at Bears depth chart, Sean, he would be the 5th listed safety.
100%.
He is the goal is for him not to play defense in the regular season. He is a special teamer. He's damn good at special teams. He was ranked one of the best special teams gunners in the NFL last year. He's definitely going to contribute there. I think he's probably a guy, like Jason said, at least he's not like a major handicap if you did happen to lose 2 starting safeties and he had to play some time. They brought Elijah Hicks back. Elijah Hicks would be on the field well before this guy. But for a guy who's, once again, I'm going to keep saying this and people are going to get sick of it, but a guy who's a space filler, a crack filler, a guy you need 53 men on the roster. We got to get 53 men somewhere. Not the worst in the world, man. He's a good special teams player who, if in a case of emergency, absolutely had to play safety. He could play multiple positions. Just another good signing by Ryan Poles. Listen, when I say good signing, does that mean that I think he's a damn good player and he should be starting and he's awesome when our team just got to let it? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying is he serves a purpose on the Chicago Bears. That's what he is.
Yeah, when you sign these special teams guys, you don't want to just sign them because, hey, that's all he's going to do. You're doing it like, hey, in case so-and-so goes out, or our middle linebacker goes out with a broken leg, or, our strong side linebacker goes out with a concussion and he's out for 2 weeks. Some of these guys they have mild concussions. They're out for 3 weeks. We need people that can step
Yeah.
in to where there will be a drop off, but you just don't want a cliff. You know what I mean? Yes.
Yeah,
and then you're right, Kyle. The contracts are very friendly. All these contracts are very team friendly. So I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically what he is, guys. You know what he is? He is the Travis Homer of the safety room. That's what he is. You don't expect him to take any carries during the regular season, but he's a damn good special teams player. And if he absolutely did have to run the ball a couple times, it's not something he's never done before. That's what he is. He's that of safeties. That's exactly what he is. Exactly what he is.
Let's get to this. Let's get to this big guy on the left side. It's adding the fourth left tackle to the Chicago Bears.
This one's interesting, Sean. This one
is interesting. Former first-round pick Jedrick Willis Jr., the former Crimson Tide, the guy who protected the blind side of one Tua Tagovailoa at the University of Alabama. My biggest problem with him is he's played 13 games in the last 3 years. His injury history is absolutely ridiculous. He sat out last year to get better. He's an absolutely massive man at 6'4", 312 pounds, extremely long arms at 34.5 inches. My personal purview of what happened to this guy, because coming out of Alabama, he was considered one of the best right tackles in college football. As I said, he protected to his blind side, which means he was actually handling the most important duties for Alabama at that time with the left-handed quarterback. He was known for being a powerful run blocker and a high-scoring offense. When the Browns drafted him, they immediately switched him from right tackle to left tackle. I've said this a million times when everyone talks about Darnell Wright moving the left tackle, which I think is one of the dumbest ideas on the freaking planet. It's one of the hardest transitions for offensive linemen to do in the NFL. You're talking about a guy who was a 5-star recruit, one of the best athletes in the draft at the right tackle position. You moved him over to the left tackle position. Not only have injuries hampered him, but his play has hampered him on the left side of that line. I texted in our chain earlier. Maybe this is a guy that if Darnell Wright gets hurt, you can bring him in on that right side where he shined.
Sean, I was just thinking that. What if they didn't bring him in to be a left tackle? What if they brought him in to be a right tackle depth piece?
Yeah, it could very well be.
Oh, dude, he could be Jordan McFadden. What if they brought him in where if Braxton Jones and Theo Benedict both got hurt, he could play left guard, and then you could put Joe Tooney back in his emergency left tackle situation. I mean, there's a million different things. This is why this guy is so interesting to me. I mean, Sean, first and foremost, you said it right. I mean, the guy was an absolute phenomenal right tackle in Alabama. He was amazing. Yeah. He was considered the best right tackle in the NFL draft. He's an absolute mammoth of a human being. He's a converted right tackle to left tackle. Obviously, it didn't work out. He has had injury woes, so I think his development's been slowed down a little bit. But he played next to Joel Bitonio last year, not one of the best guards in the NFL. So he's playing next. If he did have to play left tackle for the Chicago Bears, he'd be playing next to a much, much better guard who would be much better at helping him out. I mean, this guy is interesting to me because if you look at his profile from the draft, he was an absolute stud, man. I mean, a stud. I mean, everything. I looked at his strengths and weaknesses coming out of college, 2020. He ton of strengths, very little weaknesses. Where his development was screwed up is the fact that they were so quick to switch him to left tackle. That's where he really got hurt.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
He's a top 10 pick, right?
Yeah, he was a top 10 pick.
Yeah,
and this is what
huge,
I said when all these guys keep saying, "Oh, just move Darnell Wright. He's athletic. He can do it." Dude, there's so many different techniques from left to right that it's just not that simple transition. I've looked into this many times when this started, when this whole Darnell Wright to left tackle. Anywhere you look, they'll tell you it is one of the hardest transitions in football to make. And you're looking at a guy, a top five prospect, a 5-star recruit, a top 10 pick who could not do it. And he was an athletic beast at Alabama. And I'm not saying Darnell Wright couldn't do it. I'm just saying don't try and fix what's not broken. You're broken at left tackle. Go find the proper fix instead of trying to screw up the right side and trying to see, hey, all right, we'll fix the flat tire on the left, but leave the one on the right flat. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It don't make any sense.
No, because defense is just going to take Max Crosby and put him to the other side. And he's not.
Right.
Yeah, and Phil says here, you can never have enough hogs on the offensive line to choose from. And Sean, I like your point a lot. Maybe, Jason, you're right. Maybe he was brought here to be a backup right tackle, and they were like, man, for a backup right tackle, a lot of people think so. A lot of the team's mentality out there, a lot of GM's mentality might have been like, well, since he's been playing left tackle, this guy's available as left tackle. We're not giving him that much money to play left tackle. He wasn't very good. But maybe Ryan Poles sitting back like, hey, we're not paying him as a left tackle. We're paying him as one of the best swing backup right tackles in the NFL. And if you guys want to let him stay out there, let him be available, we'd be happy to bring him in here and put him back at right tackle if Darnell Wright suffers any injuries. And you guys know there's no more injuries in the NFL than the offensive line or in the trenches. These guys are constantly banged up because they're just so physical in there. I think there's a number of different things they could do with him. I can't wait to see where Dan Rocher thinks he fits best. But there's one thing you can't deny about him, man. There's one thing you cannot deny. He is absolutely a mammoth of a human being, and he's very athletic. He's a very athletic dude.
Yeah, and look, Dustin, like we were just talking about, if they're bringing him in to be a swing tackle and you can get anything out of a former top 10 pick, I'm sure. I haven't seen the details. I tried to look for it before we came on, and they said no details are available at this time. So if anyone has found it since, please put it in the chat. I'm sure it's a team-friendly deal. And again, with Dan Rochar here and this, God, who's the other offensive line coach? Can't think of his name right now. With these guys here, I trust them to maybe be able to fix it. But again, your best ability is availability. The guy hasn't played a lot of football. So thank you, Slim Boogie, man. Really appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, Slim Boogie says, appreciate Bears news and free agency discussion. Hey, man, we appreciate you being on the show, dude. Seriously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Slim, since you've been here, man, you've been one of the best contributors to the chat, man. I love it. Every show you've been on so far, you've been constantly putting more in the chat. We appreciate it, man. It makes the show so much easier when you guys give us stuff to talk about. Yeah, Sean, if there's any gas left in that tank, if he's valuable somewhere on the offensive line, if you can catch lightning in a bottle, Dan Rocher is the guy who's going to find it.
Yeah, and I mean,
this is not Alex Leatherwood, guys. This is
no.
That's who I was thinking of. Like, dude, another former first rounder that's going to come in.
This isn't the same situation. This guy, by all accounts, could have been good in the NFL. You know what I think his biggest problem was? I think the worst thing that ever could have happened to him, not from moving from right tackle to left tackle, being drafted or going to the Cleveland Browns. That's the worst thing that possibly could have happened to him. I think that is it, because I think there's a lot of times that players could be good in the NFL, but if they end up on the Raiders or the Jets or the Browns or one of those lowly teams, and ends up ruining their career. I'd like to see what actual coaching and actual good structure and good culture can do for this guy. I don't think his story has been written yet. I think there's still some chapters to play out here, and I think at some point you're probably gonna have to line him for something. And I'm glad the Bears brought him in. Just more depth. You're right, Phil. You can never have enough offensive linemen, man. Ever.
Dustin believes he could be the steal of the Bears free agency draft. I really hope so, that they do find a gem. And I spoke into existence. I said it last Wednesday. I said I really want the Bears to bring back Elijah Hicks, and they re-signed him. So I'm going to say one more guy I really hope, because Kyle just mentioned his name, and I was going to bring him up on this show anyways. Or Jay, one of you two mentioned his name just a couple minutes ago. I would like Jordan McFadden back on this football team.
I thought you were going to say Alex Leatherwood. I'm like, Sean, I will drive to your house and step on your toe, bro.
No, I would like Jordan McFadden back on this team. When he was given the opportunity last year, he shined and showed that he belonged in an NFL roster. I'm sure you can bring him back and add some depth to this line on a cheap deal. He earned it in my mind. I hope that's under consideration, as he's still a free agent as of right now.
The only thing I don't like about Jordan McFadden is, originally he had been signed as left tackle, right?
Yeah, and he moved to guard.
Yeah, and then they lost all three of the left tackles, and they were like, McFadden, you could play guard. I'm like, man, this guy must have been.
You know what though? What happens if Tooney gets hurt or Jackson gets hurt?
No,
man?
Sean, I'm not disagreeing. I like Jordan McFadden. Looked very good at left guard. He fit him very well. You know what the best thing about him was? Is you didn't hear his name. That's the best thing about it. That's what you want to hear on offense. But Sean, real quick, somebody asked what some of his strengths were. What the profile I read today.
I got him.
He is much, much, much better against bull rushers than he is quick, long, lengthy rushers. Like they say his lateral movement is not quick enough. So guys who are very lengthy and athletic can get around him quickly. But if you're talking about guys who are built more like Montez Sweat, he has no problems with those guys at all. No. It's the quick the spin moves, the juke moves. Those are the guys that really give him problems.
He's also tops on the list was he's a powerful run blocker. I guess a couple of his areas of worry and criticism are penalties and occasional lapse in technique, and obviously durability.
Yeah, and Sean, another once again, not to make excuses or cop outs, but I mean, how many? I just have to ask. You have to ask. How many times was this guy called for penalties and the coaching staff didn't do anything to address it?
That could be.
When you come play for the Bears, it's get comfortable being uncomfortable, man. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. If he has flaws, the Bears will point them out. They'll let him know.
And Dustin, I'll comment, and we'll get into this before we get into the D lineman that the Bears signed, the D tackle that they signed just a couple of days ago as well. I am okay with Nahshon Wright not being here. Nahshon Wright had a stellar season as far as takeaways. He also allowed a 95 passer rating, 8 touchdowns, and 14 yards per reception. $5.5 million for me was an overpay for the Jets. I think when quarterbacks, Josh Allen, who else is in that division? I guess they don't really have any good quarterbacks.
Yeah, two. I mean, Drake May. Drake May's pretty good.
I guarantee they're going to be attacking Nahshon Wright, and they're going to have a lot of success. I appreciate what he did, football IQ, getting in those huddles, stripping the ball. He had a couple of big.
Probably not going to repeat that turnover.
100%.
Oh, and I love the story. It's a great story.
Oh, yeah.
It could have been one of the best stories in the NFL last year, if not the best. But Sean, you're right. I mean, is the interception worth giving up 7 for 8 for 142 yards and 2 touchdowns, but that one incompletion was an interception? No, it's not. And Bears fans, we talked about this numerous times last year. You can't live on turnovers forever, because those games where you don't have them and your defense is as leaky as they usually are, but without the turnovers, you're going to lose. The Bears need to stop focusing on turnovers so much and start focusing on shut down secondary players, shut down corners, guys who don't allow you to pass the ball, guys who tattooed to their defender, the opposing offensive player. I'd much rather see a team where the turnovers drop from 35 to 20, but the passer rating for the opposing quarterback drops from 120 to 91. I think it's much easier to have sustained success with guys who are shut down corners rather than the guys who are ball hawks, because sometimes you're not going to get those lucky bounces. Sometimes the ball's just not going to bounce your way, and you're not going to get those turnovers. And guys, remember what Sean, what did you say 100 times last year? Every time the Bears don't have 3 turnovers,
they lose. And I think, Kyle, you brought this up. It's better to be more locked down than, I know some people don't believe in luck, but I believe the Bears defense was lucky a lot last year. I mean, they made some good plays, but I mean, when those plays didn't happen, they just weren't efficient enough, and it came back to haunt them.
You know what happened in the playoffs is Matthew Stafford didn't give you the ball 3 times, so he lost,
and you went home.
Yeah, and I think it was actually two Nahshon. Was it Nahshon Wright? I don't remember who's the guy who was covering Devontae Adams on the last drive of the game on that amazing pass to the sideline. Wasn't that Nahshon Wright? Was that Tyreek Stevenson? I don't remember. It was one of them, but you need more guys like Jalen Johnson is what you need. And everybody's got this bad taste in their mouth when it comes to Jalen Johnson. Like, guys, he's played in the NFL for 5 years. He's had one bad year and everybody's jumping ship. Like, man, show some respect. This guy was on the worst Bears teams in Chicago Bears history for 4 years, was absolutely the shining star. And then he has a banged up season where he tears his abductor off the bone. He has a bad season. He wasn't 100% by any means necessary. And all of a sudden everybody's out on Jalen Johnson. I don't understand it. When he shows up next year and he starts shutting down the Justin Jeffersons and CeeDee Lambs of the world, Bears fans are going to be bitching about him then. I can tell you that.
Hey, Dustin, Kobe Bryant's a ball hawk too now.
Yeah.
Don't get it wrong.
From strong safety, 4 interceptions from the strong safety.
Yeah.
Dude, that's unheard of.
I'm sorry, 95 passer rating, 14 yards per completion, and 8 touchdowns. That's unacceptable, man. He's not. He got burned constantly, Dustin.
I can't get on.
I can't get on that ship.
That's not
Byard. Maybe I'm disappointed a little bit in Byard, but I'm waiting to see what they do at that free safety position before I completely lose my mind about Byard. I did want Byard back, maybe on a 1-year deal like he signed with the Patriots. Yeah. Nahshon Wright, I was ready to walk away from. It was a fun watching him last year. I wasn't paying
Sean,
him.
same as CJ. Same as CJ.
Same
Both
as
of them.
CJ.
Get them both of them out of here. And people, you guys, CJ had 2 or 3 interceptions. He had four or 5 sacks and only played for the Bears for what, 6 weeks. And he's still, I don't want him anywhere near this team. He is that game against the Packers where he allowed 7 for 7 for 149 3 yards and 3 touchdowns. I don't care. And he had an interception in that game, didn't he? Oh yeah, it was 7 for 8 because he had an interception in that game. He picked off Jordan Leverly in that game. It was in the first quarter. And then he proceeded to allow, after he picked that pass off, 7 for 7 for 149 yards and 3 touchdowns. Tell me how that's helping your team. In what way, shape, or form is that helping your team?
And Dustin, I'm with you 100%. I wasn't out on Bayard. I was 100% out when the Bears lost against the Rams. I was done with Nashawn Wright. I think I said that on the show to wrap up the year. I was done with that clown.
Sean, I was saying that when
I know you were too.
When the discussion started, people were like, should we sign Nashawn Wright? I'm like, no, God, no, please no. Real quick, guys, Howie asks where y'all see Gilmore playing most.
Well, we're going to get into that right now.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. The Bears signed Kentavious Street, a guy who will join Mr. Gallimore, I believe personally, as a rotational piece on the defensive line. This is where we were talking at the beginning of the show about adding superstar power to that defensive line.
Thanks, Howie. Sorry, Sean.
In this upcoming draft, whether it's Caden McDonald, Peter Woods, or somebody else that comes, for me, the street is mainly about depth, toughness, a little bit of toughness in the trenches, defensive line rotation, just a little bit. It's not a blockbuster move. I don't think Gallimore is a blockbuster move either. But when I started watching that Gallimore tape, I was like, man, this guy has a motor that doesn't quit. And I think that's what the Bears liked about him a lot, because go watch his tape. Just Google some of his tape. This guy does not stop. Kentavious Street, for me, I think, put together his best professional season versus with Dennis Allen, and only 3.5 sacks, not that great coming off of last year, 21 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 2 quarterback hits with the Falcons in 2025. He did spend 3 years with Atlanta, or 23, 24, 25. Yeah, 3 years with Atlanta. So again, this is what leads me back to saying, Street, 10.5 career sacks, signs with Chicago. Gallimore, guy, I think, what did he have? 8 sacks. So you added 18.5 career sacks to 2 rotational pieces to this line. When I look at these things and say, man, dude, the Bears are for me personally, I think the Bears are hoping that there's going to be a playmaking dominant 3-tech or 1-tech there for them at 25. That's me personally.
Or anywhere, right? It doesn't have to be 25. Anywhere. I think it's maybe the second round. They feel like they can go get that dominant defensive lineman who could take on double teams and free up everybody else on the line. It doesn't have to be 25.
Mikey's right here too, Kyle. He's a run stuffer. He's Billings' replacement.
Yeah, the research I did, guys, by all accounts, I mean, listen, he was used as a 3 technique and a 1 technique in Indy, but by all accounts, he was drafted to be a 1 technique. That he's supposed to be a run stopper. Now, listen, if you look at his PFF grades, everybody will tell you wrong, because his PFF grades are much worse against the run than they are against the pass. But I think that's more or less because they were kind of running a lot of stunts with him, switching him in and out, and he didn't really have a consistent base of what position he was going to play. I bet you the Bears will use him more as a 1 technique and try to keep him to obviously he's still gonna have stunts when the ball is snapped, you're gonna move over, but I think for the most part he's gonna line up in that 1 technique spot. I mean, last year, 2025 season, he had 17 games played, 38 total tackles, 18 solo, 20 assisted, 3.5 sacks, tackles for loss. He had 4 passes defended. He had 3. And Sean, like you said, man, the most impressive thing about him, I actually like Neville Gallimore. I think a lot of people don't. I like him. When you watch the tape, guys, she just has a really high motor. The guy just never gives up on a play, man. He never gives up on a play. And once again, the fact that he's played both 1 technique and 3 technique, more versatility. We've already talked about in nauseum how much Dennis Allen loves that. His PFF grades weren't great. He had a 56.6 overall, 70.2 in the pass rush, 45.8 run defense, which was atrocious. He was ranked 77th out of 134 interior defensive linemen last year. But like I said, I think that's more or less just the inconsistency on his position. I think the reason they were moving him around so much is because the Colts have a bunch of injuries on their defensive line last year. I think that's why he was getting moved around. I think they were kind of running out of options. Same here as in Chicago. The Bears were trying to run out of options last year. I think if he has a more consistent role in the defense and maybe less playing time, more of a rotational piece, I think he could be better. I really do. And like I said, this guy's not a road beater. He's not Jalen Carter.
And you know what? Dennis Allen
rotational piece.
Dennis Allen going into next year or last year, in training camp said he wants like 6 guys, 6 defensive tackles, because he constantly wants to rotate those guys in and out. And honestly, I think you could probably say the same for defensive ends too. You probably want 4 or 5 of those guys as well. The defensive line is a really, really tough position on the gas tank, right? These guys need rest. They can't. It's really hard for them, unless you're Max Crosby. It's like really hard to play every down. So, the more the merrier, if you ask me. Just bring them all in, because every time you bring in a fresh 320-pound guy, it's going to cause problems for the offensive line.
Well, really quick update, my friends. WBC, 7-0 Italy. Looks like the dream team, the dream might not be dead after all for the U.S.
Yeah, but 98% of that Italian team is all American dudes that just got like
but so is Mexico.
Even like they were Italian, 150 years ago.
I mean, how did we not expect the Italian team to be good when they added Miles Mastrobuoni, right?
Dude, they got that White Sox kid that's supposed to be a stud too.
No, those 2 Royals on the, not to get off subject here, but those 2 Royals on that World Baseball Classic team in Italy are absolutely amazing, dude. Both of them. The first baseman, Sean, what's his name?
Jack Cogli something.
Coglione,
yeah, something like that.
And then that guy who hit 35 bombs
Conciliori?
last year in his first full season. That guy is absolutely a freak of nature. I said when these rosters were put together that Italian team is going to be better than people think. I said that. That's a damn good. They're all major leaguers, man. They're all major leaguers, man.
Hey, Slim Boogie, I don't know that Thieneman or Housley will be around at. I don't think Thieneman. I don't think Thieneman's going to make it past the top 35, and I don't think Housley's going to make it to 50. What are the Bears? Was the Bears' first pick 57? I don't think. If he makes it to 57, I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Well,
they're going to have options.
I think for the Bears, you're looking. Unfortunately, because I like Housley a lot. I think you might be looking at Kamara Ramsey out of USC. Or if you stick around a little bit longer, you might be looking, if you choose to go 89, you might be looking at a Zakai Wheatley out of Penn State. Michael Taft, he would probably be around 129, pick 129 if he doesn't go in between. The problem with the Bears this year is their picks are so far apart.
So spread out.
Yeah, they're so spread out.
When we were doing the mock draft on Monday, I'm like, man, there's so much waiting for the Bears. Like,
the sweet spot.
Draft, wait. Draft, wait. I'm like, damn.
The sweet spots are gone, man. And that's kind of what I was looking at when I was looking at some of the guys that I really like in this draft. And I'm like, man, dude, we got a long way to wait.
You know what made it much better? Sean? If we had 2 third-round picks for giving a minority coach or a minority GM to the Falcons, that would have been
no kidding. That would have helped a lot, wouldn't it?
That would have been awesome. We would have another stud on our defense for third-round pick.
I wonder how Ian Cunningham feels about being called white by the NFL.
Yeah, the only team that didn't get a compensatory pick.
That's such a slap in the face for the NFL. I can't believe they didn't want to even try to make that right at all. That's
right.
Well, especially Jason, when every national major writer, every single one of them had this. We're all in agreement that was.
Atlanta says, "Yeah, give him the picks."
Yeah. Matt Ryan's like, "I'm not the guy. He's the guy. That's why I hired him. I'm not the guy. Ian Cunningham's going to be the guy. He's in charge of NFL player personnel. That's what he's here for." And the NFL is still like, "Nope, too bad, Bears. Suck it."
Well, it's your initiative to get more coaches of color out there. And then when you do develop them, you don't get rewarded for it. Then why would a team want to develop a coach of like it's
just more proof that the Rooney Rule is an absolute joke, because
it should be the opposite way. They should be giving compensatory picks to everybody who's even remotely maybe developing. Hey, I'm 2% sub-Saharan. All right, you get a pick. Okay, yeah. They don't even do that though, dude. It's an insane slap in the face.
It only matters when it's convenient for them, man. That's how nice be Roger Goodell. It only matters. The Rooney Rule only matters when it's convenient for the NFL. It's an absolute joke. It's a joke.
And Kyler Murray just set up a visit with Minnesota on Thursday. I think.
I don't think he's going to leave there without a contract.
I agree with you.
I don't think he's going to leave there without a contract.
I think we'll be talking.
You guys
for fantasy, because I'll tell you,
Bears fans can bitch, Packers fans can bitch, Lions fans can bitch, but to be signing a quarterback 2 years after you drafted a quarterback is an absolute kick in the nuts. If anybody can bitch, it's
Kirk Cousins, though. That's a guy that 100% will work in that offense in 5 minutes.
I don't know though. Jason, do you think that Achilles has taken its toll on him. He just doesn't.
No,
look the same.
I think the first year it did. Last year when he came in, that second half of the season,
look
he
better.
had the Falcons
He did look
fighting
better.
for like a playoff spot.
Yeah, he did look better. He looked much better last year than the year prior. He did.
Who are you talking about?
Kirk Cousins coming off that
Cousins.
Achilles.
And Cousins, they said, was going to visit Minnesota as well. You know, for me, it's all about fantasy because I
Maybe
hate
they will soon.
Minnesota. I want Minnesota to shrivel up and die. I hate everything about that organization. Shove that stupid horn right up their ass. I to get Kyler Murray there, Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson are way up my fantasy board with Kyler Murray as the quarterback there. And
It's better than with what
KOC.
they got now.
And here, look, I've always been a fan of Kyler Murray. I know I get beat up for it a lot. The Dachshund of the Desert, Kyler Murray. I think the guy
Sean,
can
I ask you a question? And I understand it's not a fair comparison.
I didn't say Super Bowl winner.
I understand it's not apples to oranges, but I think you've been guilty of drafting some of Kyler Murray's receivers in the past, and they didn't really play all that well for your fantasy.
Well, Michael Wilson played out well for me last year.
Yeah, not when little man was in there. No, he did not.
Here, I'll say this. With KOC, I'll put a lot more trust into Kyler Murray. I trust KOC. I still think the NFC North has some of the best coaches in all of football. I trust KOC, and I think KOC gets the best.
Sure, I just don't trust 5'9" quarterbacks, man. I've said this for years, Sean. This is not like new because of this conversation. I didn't like Bryce Young. I don't like Kyler Murray. I just don't like those guys, man. I just don't. If you look back in NFL history, not many of them have had success. I think maybe about 3. I think 2 have won Super Bowls. I don't know. We know Drew Brees won one, obviously. Outside of that, I think there was some guy in the 40s or 50s who won one who was at 5'10", listed at 5'10".
It's because everybody was 5'10".
Is it Jason? Not to call you old, but did Fran Tarkenton win a Super Bowl? Dude?
No, Minnesota's never won a Super Bowl, so the answer is no.
Yeah. So outside, I think Drew Brees is the only one ever to do it. And let's face it, guys, Drew Brees was just a generational, different type of player.
He was.
There's just no short quarterbacks who ever had really good success in the NFL.
Doug Flutie.
I love Doug Flutie.
I like him too.
I wish I still had a box.
I like
of
Kyle
Flutie
Orton,
sticks.
and I wouldn't say he had a ton of success in the NFL.
Hey, Mikey, really quick on the Minnesota
for longevity,
Vikings.
Short quarterbacks just don't work. They just for some reason they don't
play
work.
The odds, man. Play the odds. If people have tried it 1,000 times in NFL history and it's never worked, then just assume it's probably not going to work.
Mikey, really quick. Darashaw and Justin Jefferson restructured their contracts. They shredded Hargrove. They haven't shredded Grenard yet, but they're trying to. I believe the Vikings have opened up like $60 to $70 million in cap space restructuring contracts. I believe the Grenard the Darashaw and Jefferson restructures is about $27 million, if I remember correctly. I didn't write it down anywhere. I just breezed past it. I can't stand the Minnesota Vikings. I know I'm supposed to hate the Packers more. I hate the Packers, trust me. So that should tell you how much I really hate the Minnesota Vikings, their fans, the organization, the players. I hate that team. I fucking hate
Except for Purple Jesus.
Except for Purple Jesus, because he's my guy.
And he's a Kyle, man. He's a Kyle.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know his first name. No, you know, for me, again, when it goes down to what the Bears have done, it's kind of started the show this way, to bring it back, providing some depth, versatility, flexibility across the board, protecting themselves with injuries, protecting that cap to make big splash moves. The Bears will be in a considerably better cap position, I should say, next year. And as I stated on Monday, one of the greatest things I've seen the Chicago Bears do is the way they structured that Kobe Bryant contract, putting money to the back end, manipulating the cap a little bit to get him under contract, having him agree. He's still getting paid, using that signing bonus that doesn't cut across the cap. You don't see the Bears do this too often. So it's a sign that Poles is growing. And I'm very happy to see it because it gives me a little bit more faith in the future that even if we're cap restricted, he could still pull off a couple of moves by manipulating the cap, doing things that other quality top GMs in this business are doing. So my biggest takeaway is so far coming away. I love Bush. I love Bryant. I love the Raymond signing for many different reasons. Again, don't know if he'll be a Pro Bowl or All Pro, but I think he's going to be a guy that the Chicago Bears fans love. And I will tell you this, after he signed with the Bears, Amon-Ra St. Brown tweeted out, "I just lost the best teammate and locker room leader I've ever played with." That tells you what's coming to Chicago, because that dude's an exceptional player himself. So I'm
Chris
thrilled.
didn't like it either, Sean. When I was talking to him yesterday at the bar, he was like actually seemed bummed about it. I was like, wow, okay, you must love this guy.
Hey, you know when fans are hurt and players are hurt, you know you're bringing someone really good to your organization. So tip your cap to Ben Johnson, because that's all Benny boy right there, my friends. So the Bears did anything else about free agency before we talk about? I want to get into one guy that the Chicago Bears went to visit yesterday. Anything else on free agency, guys, before we move on?
Oh, I do real quick. I mean, I know it's kind of off subject, but I do want to discuss the Max Crosby thing, Sean. But we can do that after you're done with your draft profile, if you want.
The Bears sent a plethora of individuals. The source said a large contingent of coaches and scouts to attend the Kansas State Pro Day yesterday, March 10th, specifically to evaluate one Sam Hecht. Hecht is widely considered a day 2 prospect, late second, early third round pick. The Bears reportedly eyeing him with their 89th overall.
Center, by the way.
Yes, he is a center. And as per usual, we got the pick is in. And look at this guy. Look at this guy. I love this guy. I love that beautiful smile. Too bad he went to Kansas State and wasted his talent.
What are his measurables? He looks a little small.
I'm gonna give you his measurables right now there, Jason.
Oh, he's huge for a center.
Yeah, he's 6'4", 303 pounds. His hands were 9 7/8. His arms 31 5/8. Wingspan 76 7/8. His RAS score was 80, 8.59, 96 out of 676 centers. Just so we're all clear, his RAS score finished 14% in the top 14% of centers historically. He's known for a quick first step, light control, light on his feet, control feet in pass protection, strong ability to climb to the linebackers and block in space, good balance, body control when redirecting. His athleticism allows him to operate effectively in wide zone, outside zone, and screen-heavy systems. My friends, this is exactly what you're looking for in a center in Ben Johnson's system. At the Senior Bowl, the reports that came out, because they had some questions about him against bigger players. Many evaluators noted his performance answered some concerns, playing with strength, which appeared on tape. You could see against heavier nose tackles, in which he dominated at the Senior Bowl. That's great to see that he's learning. His production last year, again, that 0 sacks allowed for centers, skewed stat. He allowed 8 total pressures, but his tape shows he plays with excellent poise, rarely panicking when the pocket compresses around him. He controls himself, well balanced. He would fit right into this system, into Ben Johnson's system. If this is a guy that they're looking for, again, he reaches defenders on the outside zone. You can see it in some of that tape that was just up there. This guy looks like a guy I was all about looking at the kid from Florida, just because I love his name, Jake Slaughter. Jake Slaughter is not as good in the run, against the run. This kid is solid against the run and pass. He's got an overall rounded game. I thought Jake Slaughter was the best center in this draft until I started reading today. I guess a lot of scouts have Hecht up there, have Slaughter up there. It's a battle between these two. I'm kind of going to go towards Hecht because he ran a Ben Johnson system in college, and I think that's why there was over 21 player personnel coaches checking him out at his pro day. Guys, any thoughts on Sam Hecht?
No, I haven't done really that much research into him, but the guy looks definitely promising, and obviously the Bears think so. If they sent that many guys out there, usually you're going to send 1 or 2 scouts out. I mean, it's Kansas State, not Ohio State, right? So
that's right,
who knows?
Jay.
You don't have too many picks either, like those visits, those top 30 visits. I think they have unlimited pro days they can go to, but it's a lot of resources and a lot of cost and a lot of time to send your whole staff out there to go take a look at one player when they could be out looking at other players. So my guess is the Bears are probably very interested in him. I don't think it's a bluff.
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily, Sean. Any thoughts on Hecht in particular? But I mean, there's
We need to draft one
by all accounts, the first center is going to be drafted in the third round. So the Bears are basically going to get their pick. Whoever they decide, I'm sure they're going to do their homework on everybody. Whoever they decide would fit this team best, whoever they decide is the best available center in this draft, he is probably going to be a Chicago Bear, which I couldn't be happier about. You saw J2K. I would say I would love to see the Bears groom a center this year for obviously. You have Bradbury in 1 year, so he would probably be starting for you next year. So, yeah, at some point the Bears are going to have to add a center unless you plan on re-signing Bradbury, which I don't think is probably going to be an option. I think this team wants to get younger. I would love to see one of those guys here, but to be honest with you, Sean, there's 3 or 4 that I'd be okay with.
Yeah, I'd be okay with Logan Jones out of Iowa. And again, we're trusting the staff, and obviously they like Hecht. I don't think they're giving away. We'll have to see. I don't know when Iowa's pro day is. I'm not following the pro day dates. I don't know if they're going to send anyone. I'm sure we'll hear about it if they do. At Florida's pro day, don't know that either. If they send people to look at Jake Slaughter, I like the fact that they send these people out because you lost Drew Dahlman and you thought you had an answer there for a couple of years. Also, this guy, funny as it is, when I was starting to look up his comparisons, you know who his comparison was?
Drew Dahlman.
Drew Dahlman, yes.
Wow.
That was his pro comparison. So
hopefully he's not an ass hat and likes to just walk out
and retires.
He retires at 23.
Really quick, winners and losers, man. Give me your quick winners and losers so far. I got 3.
I was really impressed with 2. I think I'm a little scared, and I know this is probably one of Kyle's teams, but I'm a little scared that the Rams had a brilliant offseason. And I'll tell you what, Washington is quietly rebuilding their defense.
Commanders number 1, dude.
Wow.
Listen, I know the Commanders didn't sign 12 guys, but they got 3 of the best free agents available. And that team, they had a down year last year, due obviously in part to a lot of injuries. But if that team comes back healthy and their offense starts to look like it did a year ago, with the additions they just made on defense, man, with Chanel, I mean, nothing but studs all across the Washington, to me, Sean, is number 1. And people can say Vegas, but Vegas was more, to me, just kind of grabbing at straw. I think Vegas was trying to see, let's just add as much talent to this roster as we possibly can. I don't even know if they necessarily know where all these guys are going to fit in yet. The Washington Commanders knew exactly what their team needed. They knew where they needed to go in free agency, and I think they got basically the best available option at all 3 positions they signed. Washington is
all 3 levels of the defense. It was really good. And remember this time last year, we were knocking Washington for letting go a half their defense because they had a terrible run stop. They couldn't stop the run, and that's what they got them killed in the playoffs in the championship game. And as it turns out, they must have been watching our show because they answered all those questions this year.
Dude, Washington's offseason has been absolutely phenomenal, and it's only going to get better after the draft. Sean, my losers for sure are number 1 is the Eagles. I mean, just for the team not to add a single player. I mean, I think they signed somebody today, but still for a team that had 8 guys leave in free agency and just not to sign a single one. Now, obviously, they got 5 compensatory picks or whatever. They've got 3 or 5, however many they got. So they're going to be all right, and they're going to rebuild through the draft. And then, Sean, my other biggest loser, and I'm not saying this due to any bias or anything like that, but it's the Green Bay Packers, man. It's just another offseason, another free agency stint for the Green Bay Packers where they do little to absolutely nothing. And even the guys that they do sign, you guys remember, and I'm not saying this to toot my own horn. This is not the case, but remember that when I was on this podcast last year at this time, and I was on the chat talking to Packers fans, I said Nate Hobbs sucks. You remember that, right? I'm like, what an absolute terrible signing by the Packers. That guy is dog shit garbage. He couldn't even be on the Raiders. He couldn't even stand the Raiders. Why would you sign him to replace Jair Alexander? And what did the Packers do? They cut him. 4-year contract. They already cut him. He's already gone. I think the signings the Packers have made this offseason are very similar. Just very underwhelming. Just guys who are kind of like role players, but they're going to be expected to start in Green Bay. With the amount of the Green Bay lost 25% of their starting unit, 25% of their starting unit left in free agency. And with those 3 or 4 acquisitions they made, guys who are a bunch of middle of the road or below average guys, I mean, you guys, if any team in the NFC did get better The only one you could possibly consider is the Chicago Bears, because Detroit certainly didn't get better. They just lost their left tackle. And they lost Dave Montgomery. The Vikings certainly didn't get better. They lost their entire defensive line and their center. And now they're trying to figure out who the quarterback's going to be. And the Packers, I think they took the biggest of all three of them. I think that team got
an honorable mention.
worse.
I would say for people to take a look out for the Giants. I think they're doing something a little kind of exciting. They're John Harbaugh is looking to like make a splash. He's making moves that he thinks are going to win him something. Now the names aren't that big, but he's making some moves.
Jason, you make a really good point, because we've all picked the Giants to win the division next year, right? And guess the latest mock draft. Guess where they got Sonny Styles going?
I know.
Yeah, I mean, after this amazing offseason by the Giants to go get one of the best coaches in the NFL and John Harbaugh, and then go add all the studs they've added, and you go add Sonny Styles in the draft, I'm telling you, man, if I were Eagles, Cowboys, or Commanders fan, I would not be happy about what the Giants are doing. I would
Sonny
not
Styles
be happy
goes
about
to the Giants, dude, at 5. Holy
with that
Jesus.
defensive line,
Oh my
dude, with Abdul Carter and Brian Burns, and
dude, he's going to be a menace if he ends up on the Giants. The Giants would be really wise.
Yeah, they'd be a damn good team immediately. They'd be a damn good team immediately.
Kyle, you kind of took my losers, 2 of them. I think Minnesota and Green Bay are losing out. Detroit as well. I think all three teams in the NFC North are my big losers.
Oh yeah.
Washington and the Rams are obvious. My second favorite team. I think they're having a very low key good off season. We all know who that is, right? Everybody.
Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, the Buffalo Bills. I love that they got DJ Moore. I love that they just signed Bradley Chubb. They needed to get something. They were able to re-sign McGovern, extended Dawson Knox. They signed a D. Alford, which is
re-signed their guard. They re-signed their stud left guard.
Yep. They're having a very good low key off season. They're not making the splashes that the Rams are. The Rams, Jesus Christ.
The Rams are going for broke, dude. They want to win the Super Bowl.
This is their last straw with Matthew Stafford, and they know that. They know.
Yeah. I'm gonna say that I'm picking them to win the Super Bowl if Matthew Stafford stays healthy, because that unit, that defense is full of studs, from Kobe Turner to Fisk to Verse to now they just signed McDuffie, and they took care of. They got all pros just all over that defense, man. The Rams are gonna have a really good year.
Yeah. Their offense didn't get any worse.
No, and you got Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams. The team is so freaking stacked.
And Sean, we talked about this. We talked about this before the season. We talked about this when the playoffs were still happening. The fact that the Rams had some of the most available cap space of any team in the NFL. Like, that team needed to get any better. And sure enough, they've used that cap space very, very well, man. But I mean, for the Commanders to sign Odafe Owe, Leo Chanel, Okakwa, who I think is a very underrated.
He's a great tight end.
I think he's sort
of Chiggy, my boy Chiggy.
He kind of reminds me of Cole Kmet. He'll do everything. He'll catch the ball. He'll do all the dirty work.
Dude, Chiggy's a killer, man.
And then,
he's got some speed
out of fantasy weeks, dude.
And Amik Robertson. I mean, they have been absolutely killing it. Didn't they also extend the left tackle too?
I think so.
Now, hey, guess what? Now, if they could just get anybody on offense to play with Jaden Daniels, I think they'd be okay. Because who's their wide receivers? Who's their running back?
I mean, Scary Terry's good. He's just got to stay healthy, man.
He's also fucking 31. I think. Well, obviously they're going offense in the draft. They don't have much choice.
Yeah, they re-signed Tyler Higbee. They re-signed Quessenberry. They traded for Trent McDuffie. Jalen Watson.
You're doing the Rams. That's the Rams.
Yeah,
but yeah, Sean, I mean, they obviously don't mind old receivers. I mean, they signed Deebo Samuel last year. I don't think the age bothers them. But I actually really like Scary Terry. You just gotta stay healthy, man.
I like Scary Terry. Don't get me wrong.
The quarterback's got to stay healthy.
Yeah, well, and that one to me is that should be the Washington Commanders' biggest concern. The fact that your quarterback is 6'5" and weighs 200 pounds is.
Hey, Relentless, are you saying the Ravens are losers? Because I'm with you that
I think he's saying are losers. I think he's saying they're winners.
Ugh.
He said they're buying everyone.
Well, they lost Harbaugh, they lost Monken, they just backed out of that trade. I understand they got Trey Hendrickson. But they lost Linderbaum, they lost Stout, they lost Likely, they lost Draymond Jones, they lost Eli Gilman, they lost Charlie Kohler, they lost Darius Washington, they lost Patrick Ricard. I mean, that's a lot, including your offensive coordinator and your head coach. Man, I'm gonna have to wait and see where Baltimore goes.
You guys, real quick, I'm sorry, man. I don't know who this is. I've never seen this name. Thank you so much for joining the show. And Brandon, you have the chat of the day. Your first chat in here, and you have the chat of the day, man. I absolutely love this. He says Vikings have signed Kyler Murray, but they dropped him between the couch cushions and lost him. Oh, that's amazing. Yes, Brandon. My favorite chat of the day. Thanks for being here, man. Appreciate you. Sean, let's get this guy an applause for that. That was amazing, dude.
Like Walter Payton's ring, he'll come out pop up like 2 years later.
Oh god, that was great, man. That was awesome. That was
Dustin says the Ravens have the highest over-under in the NFC right now, which is kind of confusing. Yeah, that is a little strange. And then Steve Boogie says Bosa to Chicago would be a good move to make. Yeah, I mean it would reek a little bit of desperation to me, but if you have no other options and you're getting laced from free agency and you're not liking the defensive ends in the drafts, then yeah, the Bears are probably gonna have to sign somebody to fill a spot there. I mean, they don't.
He sounds like a guy that might not get picked up until after the draft.
Well, and they have to sign a defensive end, guys, because they lost what 3? They lost 3.
Yeah.
They lost Don Robinson. They lost that Shainka, whatever his name is, and Deo's not going to play for the first 4 weeks of the season. So you have to sign somebody. Somebody has to come here, like whether they like it or not. Somebody's got to be here.
Dude, when that tweet came out about the Ravens checking in on Deo, I was like, oh god, do it.
Oh please! What do you want from him?
Was that?
You want us to give you a pick too?
Legit though? Was that? Did you guys fact check that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, if that was even an option, I would assume Ryan Poles would do whatever he possibly can. He'd be like, "Hey, we'll give him to you guys. We'll eat."
I don't know, man. They really believe in him, bro. They really do.
The Bears believe in him. They do.
If you listen to him, they believe in him. So we'll see.
Brandon, Jed gives you a standing ovation for that one, man. That was absolutely hilarious, dude.
Kyle, I'll send you the thing. I'll send you the thing. I sent it to Chris earlier. Jay, I should have sent it to you. They had this little black midget running on a treadmill, and the title was Kyler Murray's physical in Minnesota. It's the damn near funniest thing I've ever seen in my life, dude. And the little midget's trying to stay on the treadmill, and he's struggling, dude. It's hysterical.
So Howie, we just talked about the most recent mock draft has the Giants taking Sonny Styles at 5, but I'm gonna have to agree with you about one thing, Howie. I don't think Arizona's going running back. I mean, they just restructured James Conner. They just drafted Trey Benson, and now they just signed Tyler Algier, who I believe is going to be their starter, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, if you're going to draft a running back in the first rounds, you're talking about a guy like Jeremiah Love. Then why would you sign a running back? Because Jeremiah Love should be taking all of the snaps. He should be taking all of the snaps.
Yeah.
I think they like Tyler Algier is much better than people give credit for. You guys listen. Tyler Algier was ranked number 2 in the NFL in pass protection over the last 3 seasons, and he also his first and only season starting in the NFL before Bijan got there. He had over 1,000 yards rushing and he averaged over 5 yards a carry.
Yeah, he's a damn good running back.
Listen, you talk about like 4th to 8th round. You're looking for running back in fantasy. I would keep a very close eye on Tyler Algier.
Yeah, it's just a crowded running back room. That's the only knock on him right now.
Sure, but I think
second half of the season, he might be the lone running back.
Well, plus, man, I mean, we all know James Conner gets injured, right? It's going to happen.
And I'm going to say this.
He had one healthy season his entire career, and I don't think they believe in Trey Benson. I don't think they like him.
No, they wouldn't have picked up Tyler Algier if they did. Yeah,
I'm starting to think that. Yeah, I've missed out on 2 running backs I really love, man, because I hate to say this, but Caleb Johnson's days are numbered, man. They just signed Rico Dowd and they have Jalen Warren. Caleb Johnson, without a severe injury, isn't seeing the football field in Pittsburgh once again, man.
The rookie running backs that we all thought were going to be good.
And really quick, my other big winner in this, and I don't want to go down a rabbit hole with this at all because I'm not comparing the two, so get it out of your heads, people. But Tyler Warren is a big winner with Michael Pittman heading over to Pittsburgh. You just freed up 100 targets. This guy had 112 targets. His production did dip after the injury to Daniel Jones. And I don't care what anybody says. I understand what Colston Loveland did. His production dipped when he lost his quarterback. Plain and simple. Like that happens to a lot of players. He still had 70 catches, 800 yards. This guy is going to be a beneficiary with Michael Pittman gone off that They're going to run the offense through him.
They all will. They all will. Alec Pierce's catch receptions will go up. Josh Downs receptions will go up.
I think we're going to be looking at. I think you're going to be looking at a Colston Loveland, Tyler Warren. When you're talking about running
Trey
an
McBride.
offense, well, when you're talking about running an offense and you're talking about who should have been the pick, oh, it was McBride, or it was this guy, or it was this guy. When it comes to Warren and Loveland, their numbers next year might pan out to be very, very similar if quarterbacks stay healthy. And I'm not comparing the two. I'm just saying I think this dude's going to have a humongous season in Indianapolis next year.
I like them both. I like Tyler Warren a lot.
I like them both too.
I wish that was the Bears 1-2 punch at tight end.
Oh God.
That would be awesome. No offense to Cole Kmet, because I like Cole Kmet too. But you guys, Jed, another Kyler Murray joke for us. Kyler Murray is going to take a pay cut, except he is at the league minimum. The league's minimum height requirement. Boogie says Tyler Warren is good. That's all.
Hey, what did you have on Crosby? I got to giddy up here in a couple minutes.
I guess want to understand the Baltimore Ravens basically canceled the trade because they were worried about some of the medicals for Max Crosby. I don't believe it. I just want to come out and say
they should have known all the medicals.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jason.
He was talking to him for a while.
Yeah, and the NFL released today that there is no certain policy that has to be followed in order to cancel a trade due to medicals. So basically, the Baltimore Ravens GM could have called the doctor who was doing the physical and said, "Hey, just fail the physical. Just fail the physical." I think what happened, Sean, you said earlier today when we were on the phone, I think they got buyer's remorse, man. I think they started looking at how valuable those 2 first-round picks are. They considered the Max Crosby's age, and I'm not saying anything bad negative about Max Crosby because I absolutely love him and I think he's one of the best players in the NFL. But I think they got buyer's remorse, and I think what they did really screwed the Raiders over. Not that I give a shit about the Raiders guys, but I think it was kind of disgusting because not only did you back out of the trade, but then you wouldn't told the rest of the NFL world that you don't want him here because you're concerned about that knee injury, and the doctors are saying that it doesn't look like it's healing correctly. I think it's all bullshit. I think Max Crosby's gonna have a great season next year, and I think the Ravens are stupid. That's all.
They saw a much more friendly contract in Tyler.
I was gonna say, you know what they saw? They were like, we don't have to give up picks, and we can get Trey Hendrickson. Fail that physical.
Or Trey Hendrickson, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. They were like, oh, no one's signing him. We have X amount of dollars. Giddy up. Fail
109, 112, 109, 2 first picks, and 101.
Man, the 49ers are dumping their whole team, man. Shit.
The 49ers just picked up that good defensive tackle from the Cowboys. I can't remember his name. They just traded. Made a good trade. A trade I wish the Bears would have made because they only gave up a 3rd-round pick.
They picked up Mike Evans too.
OC.
So Sean, does Howie have the teams reversed here? So Dallas just traded.
Dallas traded OC to.
Oh, all right. He said 49ers just traded pick number 93-4. Yeah, I mean, but the Dallas is another, or 49ers are another team, man, where I feel like they lose 6 guys every year and sign 3.
Somehow they compete at the top of the division.
It's because of the coaching, but I mean, Trent Williams is a huge loss, man. Is that cut's official, right?
The last I heard is they could not come to an agreement. So let's see.
You guys, Mikey says the Vikings can save money on Kyler Murray. He can sit on somebody's lap on the plane, so he doesn't need a seat. He can sit in somebody's pocket.
He is still. It says Trent Williams has not been released by the Niners as of March 11th, so he's still on. He's still a Niner.
They're looking to trade him, but he's an old guy. I mean, I know he's great, but man.
Yeah, Jed, I agree with you 100%. He says Matt Crosby, one of the best players with one of the worst knees, apparently. Didn't look like it last year. To be honest, I think the Baltimore Ravens had buyer's remorse. I agree with you 100%.
He was playing with that knee injury all season long. They pulled the
and then
them out.
And then the week of the season when they benched him, he was playing basketball in his gym at home. He was slam dunking and shit. I don't believe anything about it.
That would suck if Wilkins went and Wilkins was able to bounce back and have a monster year for the Vikings. That would suck.
Dustin says Christian Wilkins might play for the Vikings for free if he gets to be the lap that Murray sits.
I should have read the whole comment.
Jesus.
Oh, poor
Howie says Cam Jordan and Malachi Lawrence, please. Anything else you guys want to talk about, man? Sean, I'm surprised you made it this long, man.
I would not. My foot's aching a little bit, but it'd be all right. I'm just going to go upstairs, pop some drugs, and go to bed.
Breaking news: Bruce says USA World Baseball Classic team is heading to the quarterfinals. Good
Oh,
job,
hell yeah.
Italy. Get it done,
Italy
Italy.
is beating the shit out of Mexico. It's 9-1. All the Mexican fans are very sad right now in the crowd as I'm looking at them.
Talk about a debacle. Your manager like misunderstands the seating policy
Yeah.
for the WC, dude.
Sean told me that today. I'm like, Sean, that's made up. That's made up.
Why would you come in a press conference and say that shit, dude? Like, what are you doing?
Dude, totally off.
Basically a lock. I'm surprised
Totally
none of the like the media was like, no, dude, you're not a lock. You still got
Totally off subject, guys. But one of the funniest videos you'll ever see is, have you guys seen the video of the guy explaining what the Lion King song means? It's the funniest shit I've ever seen. That yeah. It means, look, there's a lion. Oh my god, that's what that song means, dude. That's what the actual lyrics translate to. Look, there's a lion. Oh my god. My whole life I thought it was like some philosophical, like Disney. You know, Disney's pretty good usually with their
It's
songs.
pretty philosophical. Look, there's a lion. Oh my god. That's what you would say if you saw a lion.
That's terrible. You thought it meant like from the dust comes the king of the plains of Africa. Nope. Look, there's a lion. Oh my god. Yeah, Dustin says, look, there's a lion. Fucking run.
But it's like a children's movie, which is why the lyrics are probably going to be fairly simple.
Yeah, well,
we're not going to be discussing the finer points of metaphysics.
Nah, there's some adult connotations in some of that. Like, bare necessities has some adult shit that kids probably don't understand.
Hey, Jebediah,
I just thought it was hilarious, dude. The video's you have to check it out, man. The video's hilarious.
That's Pete Crow, America baseball, by the way. He almost had 3 home runs last night, man.
Almost.
Well, that first one he hit to the track, and the next 2 were no doubters.
Oh my god! Don't put Mikey. I'm not putting that on the screen. how he says the Cardinals hate Trey Benson. I am starting to agree, because I drafted him last year in our fantasy league, and it was absolutely a useless pick.
Mikey, I think they're headed to Houston right now. Isn't that where this game's being played? All right.
Sean and I had a conversation earlier today on the phone, and I'm like, Sean, Italy's gonna kill him.
I thought Mexico would be more competitive, dude.
Absolutely kill him.
You want to know what's scary? Is Italy's beating the shit out of Mexico, and America struggled to beat Mexico. I mean, we beat them 5-3. It's 9-1 right now. And they literally.
I told you, man, that Italian team is good, dude. They're really good.
Don't worry, Nacho Alvarez is up. He's gonna save the day,
dude. That Corleone and Pescatino guys, those guys are absolutely both amazing. Both Royals, by the way, ironically, but they're both absolutely studs. They're absolute studs, dude. That Pescatino guy last year had 35 home runs and 110 RBIs. He's a beast, dude. That guy's a beast.
That Italian kid, the White Sox got, that Antonacci. He's I think hit 1 or 2 home runs.
Chad says Seiya has also been great. Yeah, Seiya's had a great. Let's get out of here before these comments get any crazier. Everybody in the chat, sorry about the first 30 minutes of the show there. We apologize, guys. We appreciate you hanging around, sticking in there. If something was going on, Sean fixed it, but something was going on with YouTube. We love you. We appreciate you. Glad to have you guys here. Hopefully, when we talk to you guys next on Monday, well, Vernon and Dustin. Actually, I don't think they're going to be here tomorrow.
No, barely there. No bare minimum tomorrow.
No, I think Dustin is headed out of state early Friday morning. So
I have a question. What are people going to listen to on the way to work then?
They're going to have to listen to the Barely There podcast again.
Yeah.
But Sean and I promise we will. One of us will be here on Sunday we're
going to do the Cubs show. We have no choice, man. We're 14 days away from opening day. March 25th is right around the corner. We got to hit up this show. I got so much to unload. And this Sunday was impossible with this foot surgery, man. I was dying in pain. There's no way I could have done it. But this Sunday we're going to be good, and we'll see you all then. Dustin, good luck on your trip, brother. If I don't talk to you before then, be safe, travel safe with the fam bam, and bear down, everybody. If anything breaks big time, Bears make a big signing, big trade, big anything, stay tuned to 4-Star Chicago Sports. We will do an impromptu show like we did for the DJ Moore signing. If we can, we will, most likely. I'll have time because I'm laid up for a couple more weeks. So,
well, Sean, don't say that live, or Brendan might ask you to join the bare minimum at 11:30 tomorrow, man.
I can't
Mikey
stay awake that
reruns.
late. These drugs put me down. Man.
I think Brendan can actually do it earlier, but whatever. You guys figure it out. We'll
If
see
Brandon
you
wants
guys.
to do it earlier, I'll come help him out.
Yeah, either way, we'll see you guys Sunday on the Northside 9. We love you all.
Northside
Appreciate
9,
you all.
baby.
Take care of yourselves so you can take care of each other and bear the down.
Bear down.
Hold on,
Bear down.
I'm working on my social studies project still.
Doesn't look like you're working on it.
You're working on Tetris level 89 on your phone.
I mean, I did use ChatGPT.
Everybody uses ChatGPT.
Yes.
Bear down, everybody. Until next time. Thank you all. We love you.
Have a good night, guys.